Hey, welcome to Hivescom, podcast for the 20th community. I'm Terry, here with Gage.
Hi.
Yeah.
Hello.
Before we break into this main episode full of wonderful conversations with wonderful friends from all across the hobby community who came to the Brothers of Promethium event, and we dive into all the conversations about this event, me and Gage figured it would be a good idea to at least tell you a little bit about the event and what happened. So, the day of the event, we all met here. The game started around 10:30, and everybody signed up their names on the sign-up sheet who was playing. There was 3 rounds, so you'll hear people talk throughout the episodes of the 3 rounds. The first round was smaller games. Most of them were one-on-one, right?
Yep, most were one-on-one. It was Grimdark Future and Grimdark Future Firefight. The multiplayer games were Firefight, just to put more people on the bigger boards.
Yeah. So they all started this way. They all started looking for an objective. And then from there, the winners of that objective got to be first in line for a large game of Gaslands.
Yes. During that first event, though, I think it's important to note that we all had our canonical Brothers of Promethium warbands or factions that we talked about in the previous episodes interloping with other people's games.
Yeah, messing around.
But yeah, you had a little sniper, I had a sniper, Steve had a whole fire team, Phil was snatching bodies, but...
Yeah, so we all played a part in some way, shape, or form. Then we went to a large game of Gaslands, which you'll hear Blerz talk about especially, but everybody in the first part of the conversation, where we had 2 4x8 tables that lined up for the event, sort of a T shape where they started off at the top of the T and then all fed bottleneck style into the bottom part of the T. And the bottom of the T was the end of the race.
Yes, leading into the big reveal of the third scenario.
Dun, dun, dun.
Which, you're going to have to listen to see how the second scenario worked out. But the third scenario was just a big free-for-all, everyone with hero units on a big crash Space Hulk, and events ensue.
Yep. So, yeah, stick around, listen, and if you want more information, the wonderful Gage put a free Patreon post over at patreon.com/Hivescum where you can see the PDF and actually read through and see what we did, and also feel free to steal it and make your own thing out of it. And please share anything you do steal or play or create or anything. We would love to see it. Yeah. So, yeah, enjoy. Peace. Yeah, but you got a good, nice little kind of thing going.
This is the Steve's third day on a couch growth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's cool. You look like some sort of actor.
James Dean.
Yeah, you do have James Dean vibes.
I'll take it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I'll take that one.
Maybe
sure.
a bit sexier.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, I don't know if I can accept that, but we'll just leave that one there.
A little bit more greasy, too. Anyways, I'm joined... Oh, sorry. Welcome to Hivescum, the podcast for the 28 community. I'm joined by 4 random human beings. And nobody, besides me, no other actual hosts. So,
Well, that's not 100% true. You're sitting across from a host.
Well, a host of another podcast.
Yeah, hi, everybody. My name's Greg from Dragged into Turbuloses, another hobby-based podcast.
Yeah, and the inspiration for Hivescum.
Maybe.
Yeah, well, if you haven't listened to that one, which you probably did before coming here, you should go listen to that podcast because it's better.
I don't know about that. It's 3 people that sound the same and talk unexcitedly about things.
Well, but you guys made that really rude sticker.
That, yes.
It gets brought up every time you're on here. Anyways, we also have...
I'm Jared, Caffeinated Miniatures.
Yes, the guy. One of probably the furthest away here.
Well, Bill beats me.
Bill. Oh, yes.
Berserker Works, yeah.
Yes.
He's further, but he doesn't count.
Yeah, agreed. We won't give any context to that. We also have...
I'm Blerz. Blerzcraft.
This is actually Blerz here.
This is actually Blerz here.
It's like half the episode somebody says they're Blerzcraft on our podcast, and now we actually have Blerzcraft here.
You do, and this podcasting thing is kind of nerve-wracking. It's like a voiceover, but with other people staring at you.
Yeah. Yeah, as long as you're okay with that, you'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
And last but certainly least,
Fuck you, sir. This is Cole. Cole's for 28.
dude, the god.
Yes.
The god Cole.
Colsifer.
Short King.
Oh, beautiful baby.
You know it.
Anyways, and I'm Terry at Stone.jaw. And like I said, I'm the only official Hivescum host on here, as you can hear. So, who knows how it'll go.
Not good.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. I got to come up with a lot of questions really quick. Greg, how was the event?
Oh, it was really cool. I mean, I arrived a little late, so I didn't get to see the first game, but it was really neat. The second game, playing Gaslands with a whole bunch of people in largely darkness.
Yes.
People trying to get across a fairly lengthy board as orc raiders and all sorts of other things showed up to annihilate people. Pretty rad.
Yeah. You like that part the best? Gaslands part?
I don't know, it's all cool. I mean, Gaslands
Yeah.
is a fun and compelling game.
Yeah, in general. Yeah, we kind of hacked it a little bit just to make it easier for everybody. Because we had, I don't know, like 25 people or some
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of
some
people.
dumb amount of people playing this game. And so we
On a
had to make
giant
it
board.
on a giant board, and they were all 28 millimeter scale stuff. And so we had to think of something quick. And so we used the template still, but there was no scatter dice, or what, not scatter dice, but spin dice and all the Gaslands dice. And we went for it, and it went okay.
Yeah, it was chaos, but like
It's chaos.
in the very best way.
Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't actually have a little racer in that, so I didn't get to experience that.
no.
But it looked like absolute chaos on the other side of the board.
Well, and then I was just going to say, to add to the chaos, Blerz was there with a giant mobile orc oil refinery.
Just to make sure there was enough chaos on the board.
Of course. And Blerz was coming down the other way as
And
everybody's
just
going
wiping the
towards the finish line. Yeah, just straight up wiping the board away.
It was a pretty accurate reflection of driving around here in New England, though. In terms of
you're not wrong.
like you're not supposed to attack other drivers, but it happens.
Yeah,
You
a fair
find
bit.
yourself, wrong way traffic. Not that happened this morning on the way to Dunky.
Really? Did you do that?
No.
No, of
No.
course you didn't do it. We have commercials here at the gas stations, which are my least favorite thing, and I think about them all the time, that are like, you're like filling up gas, and it's just like, don't drive wrong way on the highway message, but in the message, it's just like, oh my God, look out, look out. And there's just like chaos through the gas station speakers, and I'm like, I'm just trying to fill my tank, man. Like, I don't need to hear somebody's like getting into a wreck and dying while I'm just trying to get like a snack.
That doesn't help with the anxiety of driving.
No, yeah,
About the
it
car
doesn't
outside.
make it easier for anybody.
Doesn't seem to help the actual driving either.
No,
so,
no, it's always bad.
yeah.
It's just letting you know that that's a possibility of something that could happen to you.
There's a lot of possibilities in life. You know what I mean? Why can't it be, instead of that, why can't it be like, keep your eye on the ground, it might be $20, and then it's a sound clip of somebody being like, oh my God, $20, it's on the ground.
I don't know, it's the whole, prepare for the worst, hope for the best. But at the gas pump, I don't know, aggressive.
I don't like sounds at the gas pump anyway.
One time I was at a Target in Pennsylvania, and there was, I think it was two $20 bills lying on the
shit.
ground in the parking lot. I didn't even pick them up because of my obsessive compulsive disorder.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
It's dead to me, it's there. But it was $40.
It's kind of beautiful in a way. It's like watching like a butterfly. You're just like,
Good luck.
somebody that's going to make somebody else's day.
$40 worth of good luck right there.
Yeah.
It's true.
No, it's true.
I did want to ask you, you mentioned the lighting on the second match.
Yeah.
How did you feel about that?
I think it made the game more evocative. Like all the lights on the oil refinery were really cool. Me with my inexperience with photography, I don't know if the photographs that I took are going to be good, but the actual experience of the players with that, I think, was really cool.
Yeah.
I felt like it really made it look like a stage. Like everybody's eyes, whether you're playing or not, everybody's eyes were on the board because
Yes.
of it. Same with the second match or the third match as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the stage production of everything, between
Yeah.
the framing of the table with the lighting, the rig itself being lit up, it really kept the focus on the action, and you know, a well thought out board goes a long way. But I think a lot of the extra TLC into like, you know, the theatrical nature of it was like a very, you know, like a very special thing that I haven't seen before myself.
A lot of improv happened.
There was a good deal of improv happening. Everyone running around trying to figure out what the hell was going on.
Jared and Cole, you both actually raced in the race,
Well,
as opposed to being
Cole
in the-
raced a lot longer than I did. I was shot off the board like second turn.
Oh, no.
Glorious fashion.
See, that's the problem with painting a really nice speeder, which you did. I was admiring your speeders and your whole warband, but that's the problem with making a nice one is it's much more noticeable on the tabletop.
Listen, it's all garbage anyways.
Yeah.
It's all garbage. We're just playing with little war dollies. It's fun. It's fun to roll ones and explode. It's all good.
Yeah. So you only lasted a couple of rounds?
Yeah, and I went first. So I went
Oh.
first, and then went first again, and then proceeded to get blown away.
Now I'm remembering where you put your minis, like exactly, you put it where I would
The
put
shortest distance. It
Yep,
seems
you were-
really smart to race ahead.
You were right on the
Yeah.
corner, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
It wasn't smart to race ahead. You just irritate everyone.
I
Yeah.
found that out. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Some of us made it further ahead than others, Cole.
Yeah, but I mean, a blown up speeder is a blown up speeder.
True. And like no one made it out alive. It was beautiful.
Well, I think that's kind of a reoccurring theme this weekend.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yes, no, totally. That was kind of the goal. The whole thing was just like, yeah, everybody dies. There is no winners. Congratulations, you came all this way to
Yeah.
not win.
Dog dies at the end 28.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, I came all this way for hot dogs. So
Yes. Oh,
Success.
and they were delicious.
They were.
Yeah, shout out Chris Acrylic manning the grill.
Oh,
Because
dude,
I didn't know what the fuck I was doing.
he was Grillmeister.
Yeah, I
it was
know.
perfect.
Yeah.
I was like, I can maybe get the charcoal going, but even that, I was like, I don't think I'm doing it right.
You like abandoned it, and I was standing at it, kind of just looking at it, and like, should I do something? And he just took over.
Yeah.
Moved goals around. Yeah, and then took over.
Yeah, he's the best. He's the best. Now, in this game of Gaslands, to give you some context, you have 30 or so, or whatever we were saying, 25 people coming forward, going to one end, all bottlenecking into this one little area. Blerz is coming the other way. We had talked a little bit before on our Patreon episode about there was like NPC factions that were also floating down. Witty and Berserker Bill were both NPC. Armageddon Joe was also an NPC, and so they were all fighting the people that were going forward, right? And we had mentioned that we know people are going to try and get ahead, and they're going to be immediately shot, because that's just how it is in Gaslands. You know, you get too far ahead, you become a target, and you're just going to get blown up.
I thought I was far enough ahead to not be in anyone's target range, but no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I when I got the handout and I kind of ascribed like what my speeder had, I had 6-inch flamers, and I was like, okay, so threat range is probably like 12 maybe. It's not. It was significantly larger
Yeah.
for most of the threats.
For everyone else.
And Cole, you had like the most cinematic moment, though.
Oh yeah, I mean, I Dukes of Hazzarded off of the oil rig. I grabbed a couple of power ups. I kind of like jet streamed, through the smoke.
Yep.
I got out there. I got after it, but wasn't far enough.
Never is.
No,
Never is. That's life. Ain't that life?
ain't that life?
So Blerz was coming down with the oil rig. Blerz, that oil rig, you made that for the event.
Yeah, just as extra terrain.
It has extra terrain.
Unreal.
And then you guys approached me of like, let's use that as your jet bike. So I just put my old warband of orcs on it, and then I wanted to randomize it up. So instead of having one of them shoot, I just added to a D6 roll for its movement, which made its movement really sporadic and added to kind of the tension of people coming towards me and this big thing just barreling down the hill, which it did. I think it moved like 32 inches in one round.
It was
and
quick,
just crashed
yeah.
through a bunch of stuff. It was very cinematic, and then it detonated in a giant fireball.
Yeah.
I think all of us racing up to it were anticipating that it might blow up, but when it started moving kind of erratically and very quickly, I don't think we knew what to make of it other than it was something to be reckoned with. It also it gave me Waterworld Smoker gas fires.
Yes.
You know
Totally.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. It did consolidate everybody's fire into it as opposed to into each other, which that might have helped these racers move up the board a little bit more. But I don't know. It was a glorious fireball of disaster at the end. It was great.
Ultimately, everyone that was actually firing at it kind of died in the fireball anyways.
Yeah, that was the best
Beautiful.
part.
Yeah, it's the best part of
I
it.
was like, keep shooting at it, get closer,
See
shoot
what
at it
happens,
again.
motherfucker. See what
Yeah.
happens.
So yeah, Blerz's orc rig's coming down the thing. Cole jumps up onto the thing. He flies right up there and is driving along the edge
kinda
of the rig.
rail grinds off the
Yep.
side of the
Spraying
the rig.
silver paint in his face.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Witness me.
Oh,
I went over to the
certainly.
cabinet, but Gage was like,
No, too much.
no, I jumped off the rig. I made it a little bit farther. I got hit by 2 snipers, but kept going. But
Yeah.
it really be the ones that you never expect.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but the
What did
Blerz.
blow you up? Did you get blown up?
I did. Yeah, I got las cannoned.
Yes.
And my body tumbled over the horizon to see. I can't think of the name of this ship. It's escaping me now.
Yeah, the Wrathful Atonement.
Oh, is that what it is? I had no idea.
This
Okay.
message will repeat. And what was I got? The squig that I had on there too. That was also just like a day of kind of thing. I was like, oh, this would be cool. It's like funny. So there's a little squig bouncing around on the map, just like doing its thing. And if you hit it, it acts like a mushroom from Mario. So flies you right ahead. So you got 3 movement templates to slide on ahead.
I got 2 of those. I mean, I was getting after it, but you get out far enough ahead, you make yourself the only target.
Yep. Yeah, it was beautiful though. The smoke coming out of the back was great.
Yeah, who grabbed? Someone grabbed a whole
Sam.
Peter cottontail
Yeah.
fistful of cotton, and
Yeah.
it really added the atmosphere of like the smoke trailing off the thing.
The other interesting thing I found about it was there was more than just one NPC. So it wasn't just like my orcs barreling down the center. There were like snipers stationed in all the rocks, and I was actually fighting them on. Joe, who was playing some of the NPCs, actually crawled on the rig as it was going down the hill, and we were fighting each other as opposed to fighting any of the players. So it was like kind of a little game between me and Joe inside of this bigger game. And that was the most interesting thing for me as I was looking from one end of the table to the other. It was like everybody was telling these little stories that I could only see from a glance, but I could see all of these storylines playing out. But I could really only affect what was on my side, on the other side of this table. It was very interesting. Very cool thing.
Yeah, man. It was lovely. Took a long time. Took kind of a while to kind of bang out all of those speeders. But once people started dying, things started moving a little quicker.
Now, Terry, I know that Gaslands is a personal favorite of yours. Was this your favorite event? I know Greg weighed in, but was this your favorite of the 3 events because this is kind of your wheelhouse?
I'd probably say honestly, yeah. I didn't really think about it, but as far as originality, like it felt unique. Where we have gone and seen some events that it's like you're working on small boards and you all come together for like a big kind of battle towards the end, and that kind of makes sense as far as like an event looks like. But having a random Gaslands game thrown in there, especially like a hacked up and weird Gaslands game that all this crazy shit's happening, that's pretty neat.
That was cool, yeah,
it's pretty
sure.
neat, and that would be probably my favorite. Yeah. Now you brought Jared. You brought all this equipment.
A camera.
Well, it looks pretty impressive. I'm not gonna lie.
That was a camera's camera, right?
Yeah, that was
It's just to look impressive. That's all.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's
No,
actually
like-
only $25 for the whole thing.
I like telling stories, like videos. I like telling stories about the cool stuff that's going on, so that maybe more people see it and more of it exists.
Yeah.
So yeah, as much as I was like here to play and meet all you crazy fucks, I was here to like just document it as well. So like try to make something good. I mean, hopefully I do.
Yeah, your
No promises.
Your caffeinated miniatures is something that just kind of popped up, and I think everybody was taken back at the production value and the intimate atmosphere. I think that you sort of frame everything, and it's a very comfortable, well lit production.
So for anyone that can't see me, I'm now like super bright red because I don't handle this very well. I want to immediately deflect, but thank you very much, Cole.
No, I agreed. And it's funny, too. I found out about you just like on Instagram. It may even have been that first brother that you kind of bashed up and painted. But I think it was even like slightly before that I learned about you. And yeah, like you were saying, very comfortable, but also the time component of it being like a 5 a.m. diary.
Oh, yeah, on Instagram, yeah.
Yes. And I was like, there's something so like almost like romantic in a way about making a cup of coffee in the morning, and you can feel in your video that it's dark and it's and that part's really cozy, and it makes me want to do that.
The promise of the new day percolating with your cup of coffee.
Oh, dude, it was great.
That's very poetic. That's more poetic than I consider anything. So.
Yeah, I felt like your stuff is very, I don't know, as opposed to trying to be over the top. I would say adult, and I don't mean that in any derogatory term. I mean like more thought out, something that's more palpable without all the bright and flashiness of what is so much media today.
It's not a hype beast thing. I'm not screaming at the top of my lungs, but I'm absorbing it at a more core level.
Yeah, it's something that for me personally, being over 40, I absorb better. I don't need Nickelodeon Games Workshop. I need like somebody who's an adult. Like talking about it.
I'm a bit surprised to hear that Blerz is an 18.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I'll trade somebody.
He's got the energy of an 18-year-old, that's for sure.
Yeah, Blerz knocking stuff out, all the cool stuff out, just
all
every
the cool
single
stuff
day.
Out. Yeah. Now, Blerz, you're working on some Necromunda stuff, right?
Yeah. I'm doing a 4x4 Necromunda board. Just crazy ideas I've been having. I've been doing live streaming it, and having like interaction with the community has been way more inspiring. Like having somebody hop on and be like, "That looks like this to me," and then that gives me more ideas.
Totally.
So like live input has been very beneficial for me.
Yeah. You're using some weird paints too, right?
Yeah. So I was gifted water soluble oil paints, but they're not really water soluble. Like to clean your brushes, you do need some white spirits or mineral spirits or something.
Okay.
But so there's only 5 or 6 colors, and I've really limited the palette of everything I've painted. So I'm not using black on it, so I can't darken anything. So I don't know. I would love other people's opinion on what it reminds them of, like what the color palette reminds them of. To me, it's kind of like Mobius a little bit. It has like this oversaturated pastels, if you will. But I love the way it came out, and it's always good to experiment, because sometimes you hit something that you really like, and it changes what your perspective on how you do your art or your hobby.
Totally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude. Like that's the magic of anything that we do in the hobby, is just like the fuck around and find out. Like just spray some weird ass colors underneath and then paint something over top and see what happens. I love that.
Yeah. Well, even going back to what we were just saying about, the 5 a.m. diaries and being like, wow, that's not as poetic as I'm thinking about it. It's like sometimes we do stuff and we don't realize how special it is to other people, not even just to ourselves making it, but like how special, like seeing something that Blerz makes and being like, oh, that gives me an idea to do this whole other thing. And now it's like this. It's like a little like virus kind of spreading out, and like I don't know, the tendrils are in all these other places too.
I see it as a cycle, because you inspire me, I inspire someone else. They inspire you. You inspire me, I inspire someone, and then it just keeps going.
It is.
I don't know how many people now I've met that have been like, "Oh, you inspired this." I'm like, "Well, you inspired that in the first place." So
it is very like artist collective, Bauhaus, bunch of people, taking their work and then having other people's work push it further.
Yes, most definitely.
Yeah, it feels that way. Sorry, I keep turning you guys up because, as you can hear, there's still people here gaming in the studio, and so
It's pretty awesome.
Just can't get enough.
Yeah,
I keep getting like eyes from people across the way. It's pretty nice.
Yeah,
I'm giving you eyes right here.
Yeah,
see?
Same.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, Greg, you were given a couple of minis to bring to the event.
Yeah, so my brothers Adam and Eric weren't able to come up to Connecticut for the event, so they were able to make 2 little miniatures. Adam built them and Eric painted them, and I drove down to Baltimore a few days ago to acquire them to then bring them up here.
Yeah.
And so that, I think that both Adam and Eric pushed themselves to try to get these done in a little bit faster of a time frame than they normally would do.
I was going to say for them.
Yeah, because like Adam will spend a long time sculpting stuff and then also a very long time painting them. Though, I mean, I think as everybody here knows, like you can get some pretty good effects in a fairly quick amount of time.
And some people, like we were saying goodbye to Doom and Apathy Adam, like he's probably the quickest painter I've ever seen in my entire life.
Slow prep.
Slow prep.
Doom and Apathy.
Yeah.
He does most of it in the spray painting stage. Most of his paint job happens by using different color spray paints and then just kind of hitting little tiny details. Like
it is such a painterly and stylistic choice, like the way he's gone. But all of his stuff has such nice cohesion and presence. You know, he really draws your eye to what he wants. There's no fucking around in that matter.
No, totally. And it's readable because there's not too much going on, which is something that happens a lot.
And I love when like a lot of the Bojangles get lost in the mix and they kind of become part of the atmosphere, not so much like the focus.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And he's like kind of a master at doing that. Now, how would you explain these 2 minis though, Greg, that you brought?
One of them, he was from, I think, an Age of Sigmar model. I don't even remember. Perhaps he was an Empire or a Witch Hunter sort of dude.
Capey Witch Hunter. Yeah, he's like one of the 2 not the Von Traps. That's a different.
Yeah. But so like Adam just has a ton of miniatures sitting around that like this looks cool and might be good for a thing. So he took that, and the model that he ended up converting into kind of looks like the character on the front of Fallout New Vegas with like the gas mask with the red eyes. But that wasn't something that was intentional. So he took that model and then changed the weapon tree, because I mean it was a fantasy model, and put basically a Glock 19. They're holding a Glock 19 and a contender or a contender style rifle, which a contender is a handgun that's designed to shoot rifle cartridges that I don't know that they're made anymore.
Allegedly.
Yeah. And the other model is like a little servitor companion for this character.
Yep.
That was a goblin servitor for, I think it was a GW promotional miniature for a dwarf. Maybe it was even a Christmas model. I don't remember. But a little goblin servitor that he replaced the head with like a more gaunt, skullish looking face. Yeah, pretty rad.
That was my favorite. The companion was my favorite.
Yeah.
I loved that.
Totally.
Can I see pictures on the between the bolter and me?
Yeah. So there's both. We have a post about the building of the models and then one with them painted. And Eric has spent a bunch of time recently trying to learn more about photography, so I think the pictures are pretty good.
Yeah, they look great.
And those guys made an appearance in the jet bike race on Promethium?
They weren't in the jet bike race.
They weren't?
No,
I thought they were NPCs on the...
I didn't pull them out.
Oh, okay.
But, like, it would have been appropriate, because, like, we have a little Arvis, like, lighter, like, spacecraft thing. They could have flown in and caused some havoc.
Yes.
But
we still got time today. I mean, we can always revisit Old Glory.
I would really love to play a little game of Fastlands, just run around on here for a little bit. But then we got to move all this garbage. Which
Steve says it needs to go into the dumpster, right?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. When you have something like this, and it's like, yeah, it took us a while to build all this stuff, but it's like, where does it live now?
I think there's beauty in saying that it doesn't need to be forever. Just chuck it.
Yeah, or just like crunch it all down, and then it could just be used as bits later. You know, put it all into a box.
You get a box, you peel off the bits you want, throw the rest in the dumps, and you know, that's it.
Yeah.
Or try to donate it if you're going to break it down. If you don't want to break it down. That's what I always do.
Yeah, totally. I'm going to try and get Steve and maybe Tyler on, but at least Steve later to talk about kind of the construction of this board and how they went about putting it together, because it was like mostly their baby put this whole freaking crazy board together. And then Dillon, shout out, who set up this light that's above us, actually lighting us. But Dillon set up all of the smoke and everything that was happening and all of the lights. So you guys had mentioned kind of the atmospheric light that was going on.
Yeah, definite shout out to Dillon, because he did all the lighting for the boards too.
Yep.
During play, and he had like a lighting effect. So during the turns, there would be like flashing, kind of a little bit of a strobe light or thunder effect, lightning effect or something go on.
Yeah.
It was very cool.
He had that
Way atmospheric.
that little smoke machine thing that he had that looked like a vape, and I just kept like, and then he was messing
a
with
vape.
me. Is it a vape?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, totally.
That thing was sweet, though.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't tell what was going on because it kept going off my hand, and he was just across the room, like, fucking with me because he had a remote control for it. And I was like, come on, man. I was, like, freaking out looking for you because I thought I broke your, like, expensive equipment or something like that.
I think one of the unintended theatrical twists was like the lighting, the smoke. It really sold the atmosphere, but the amount of people we had in this room with the doors closed, no lights, it really did feel like we were trapped on some sort of a space vessel. And the pressure of that, I think, influenced a lot of people's plays, and maybe people misplayed, but that kind of felt appropriate for trying to escape a planet.
Misplays, like, accidentally flying away and leaving everyone alone.
Yeah, what kind of an asshole
Yeah.
would do that?
I don't know.
Yeah. That's
An
crazy.
asshole that would come back.
Well, for context, so the final game, everybody had a character that they were meeting in this large, destroyed, burnt-out warehouse, trying to get the two different Valkyries to hopefully get off the planet.
Yes.
So it's like an 8x4 table.
It is an 8x4 table with tons of like verticality in there too, and it's supposed to be it's a part of the giant spaceship.
Yeah. So there's like at least 3 layers, like 3 levels that you can play on, and there were a bunch of terminals that people are trying to get to interact, to figure out what the heck they need to do next, and then a couple of escape pods that may or may not work.
Yeah. Steve, at some point we got to get you on. I know you were just walking by. But yeah, so then we had the smoke kind of going, so we painted up these pipes, we painted everything up, and so that smoke was kind of coming out of the pipes, and that smoke was coming out of like the kind of little crevices and things, and each player had 1 or 2 minis. I think that was kind of what they had put together, and the turn sequencing was something we came up with like literally 5 minutes before the game, because Gaslands was great, except there was no like kind of order to the turns. It was just like, wait, everybody already went.
Just Steve saying, "Okay, Cole, you go next."
Yeah, and we didn't really expect that with that many people, which we probably should have. But that's part of the love, is you just kind of do a thing and you kind of cross your fingers that everything's going to work out, and you kind of like work with what may or may not work out. And so the last game we kind of had this initiative order, like kind of we went through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and that initiative order 1, 4 people would walk up and they would each take their turn simultaneously.
So like that's the scale. There's 24 players. Some players had more than one, like 2 minis, because it was up to 2 minis, like Grimdark Future Firefight.
Yep.
Not that matters, but that's kind of what we were using.
Shout out Grimdark Future Firefight.
Yeah, shout out.
Shout out LPR.
And then we
Friend
had
of the pod.
little NPCs running around there too. So there was like a big giant Tyrannid bug that was kind of doing its thing, and all these little gene stealers that were running around and kind of doing those things that were also throwing a wrench in everybody's plans to get off of the planet.
Which really added this level of panic, because you're like, you see this massive thing just show up, and you're like, yeah, I need to get away from that now.
Not to mention that people weren't really cooperating with each other. They were it was kind of all, free for all.
Yeah.
There was a plan for some people to be cooperating, but then some of them just decided to fly away.
Yeah.
Hang on. I came back.
You did.
Yeah.
And I got
And
stabbed in the back for doing so.
Yeah, Cole, how did because originally Tyler, who we may have on here later, $1 Billion Clown Farm, he right away pretty much rolled the perfect roll he needed to roll to like initiate all of the ships all at one time. And so then how did it go from your angle once those ships were activated?
I mean, it was the most anticlimactic climax. So my turn 1, I just jetpacked over to the ship and took off.
Yep.
And I didn't know it was going to take off. So I guess what happened canonically is that my space guy flew to the ship, exited the atmosphere, got trapped in some sort of time warp, was thrown into the past into a Neolithic age, and was sold to the pits to be a pit fighter.
Beautiful.
Which is cool, but it was like I want to play, and I let down everybody on the platform who was hoping to escape. So Phil and Steve came and grabbed me, and they're like, "Do you want to come back?" And I was like, "Of course I want to come back."
Hell yeah.
So I flew back down, blew up a bug on a platform, threw open the doors, waiting for other folks who were still kind of on the platform to come back in.
Yes.
But then, a couple people got in, buckled up, they were ready to go. And then Armageddon Bound Joe,
That was it. I
who was
forgot
part
did
of
it.
our alliance, decided he was going to start swinging.
Yeah.
And, that's Dallas, baby. What are you going to do?
Yeah. And so it was kind of this perfect role-playing moment. And that's really what you want in like this kind of a scenario.
Yeah, I didn't want to win. I didn't want to take off and be the only person off the planet. So I'd rather come back and accidentally kill more people.
Yes,
who were
totally.
trying to escape.
And
Keep
it
that
was
story
like
going.
the most cinematic. Like you had the most cinematic aspects of the entire day because
Yeah.
that was like, I don't remember who was, Joe maybe was sitting there just like firing his pistol at this giant Tyranid monster. It's like takes 3 wounds off, is about to get wiped out, and then you came in with your missiles and blow it up. Land, get in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can't please everybody, though.
Oh, man, but you did a great job.
It's just something to hold over you, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, most things are held over me because I'm down here. So, yeah.
I wouldn't say that, but you did.
We had a step stool. There was a step stool.
Well, boys, we might switch it up and add 4 new members to the crew, or maybe pull in Steve and some people to talk about the creation of the board. You guys want to say anything before we cut you loose?
Thank you. You're awesome.
You're awesome. I couldn't do without you.
Yeah, thanks for the invite. It's a small trek, a little trek for hot dogs, but totally worth it.
We're glad you could make it. Seriously.
Yeah, thanks everybody. Keep on enjoying the hobby. Keep making weird things. Other people will like them.
It doesn't cost anything to be nice.
That's true. What a way to end it. All right, let's go grab some new peeps.
Hey, hi.
Hey.
Can I join this podcast?
Yeah, you can come on in.
I'm sorry.
$100 application fee.
It's me, Gage, at No Clear Co.
Hi.
Yeah.
Oh, did you
go
do
ahead.
an introduction?
Well, we did it in the beginning. This is the second part of the show.
Oh, is this where we
Part two.
introduce ourselves?
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm nervous. My name's Tyler at $1 Billion Clown Farm.
Nice.
My name's Dillon at Void Halation.
Nice.
Nice, dude.
And my
That's gotta
name's,
be
they already know.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was in the first
I'm
part.
sorry.
I made it up. It's not real.
It's got to be like a light bulb joke, though, or something, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I don't know if it's a joke. Are you calling me a joke?
yeah, dude. I'm
Fuck.
calling
Do I
your
look like a
career
clown
joke.
to you?
Well, my guest spot is over. Bye, guys.
Do I look like a clown?
Yes.
Yeah.
And speaking of clowns,
He's coming. He wanted to eat chips first.
Honk, honk.
I'm actually Steve at South of Heaven. I'm really
Yeah.
sorry for stealing Tyler's name.
Yeah.
Who are you?
I said it first,
yeah,
motherfucker.
No, you
he was
didn't.
here first.
Oh, he was here first?
I was number 1. Oh.
Don't get fucking excited. It's not a Coke Zero.
No, it's not. But we already have 2 open Coke Zeros on the table, which is nice. Anyways, so we were talking before with the gang.
Yes.
Blerz, Cole, Jared, and Greg was there, and realized while we were talking, I was like, oh, we definitely have been keeping the construction of the board quiet for the last 3 episodes or something.
Yeah.
And so, Steve, we wanted to bring you on the pod to talk a little bit about the
I
construction
really
of the board.
appreciate this.
Welcome.
Yeah,
Thank you
it's
for
an
having me.
opportunity, and I hope you take full advantage of it.
Yeah. I'm going to really elevate my platform via the Hive Scum podcast.
Yeah. This definitely won't be a detriment to your professional career.
Yeah.
So you made the end board, and you and Tyler kind of created the layout of everything. Dark Tyler.
The Wrathful Atonement.
Yeah.
Have you talked about it already? I don't know
No.
what I've missed.
No. So,
No, okay.
how'd you get the idea to do a board this big, sir?
I think it just came from talking about the planet and we talked about like Space Hulk style board for whatever we were when we originally were kicking around the idea about doing an event and having custom boards and things like that. And the second we talked about it, I just had this vision of a giant like skeleton of a giant cargo container, but it's an Imperial ship and just models fighting in it. That's really it. That's usually all it takes for me to get going on a project.
Now, Steven, how did you go about the construction of the craft itself?
I feel like I'm being patronized.
If you want to be patronizing us, you can head on over to hivescum.com/Patreon, or the other way around. You know what I mean. No, but for real, though.
What was the question?
I forget.
How did you make this?
Yeah, how'd you make the freaking board, dude?
Oh, how did I make it? Out of a lot of foam and chipboard.
So it's four
It's 4 2x4
2x4 segments.
Yeah, on top of pegboard with a 1-inch layer of insulation foam that you would put in your walls at your house.
Yes.
Yeah, I just went about it the same way I do any other terrain board, where I just kind of start going with a rough idea of what I want to do, and it just like evolves as I'm going. I did kind of sketch a little idea up where, it's like an upside down, as Tyler puts it, a whale carcass, like a rotting whale carcass, and that was kind of the vision going.
Oh, like the rib bones and shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we were trying to, as we were talking about it, we were like, how do we get elevation rather than it just being a flat board? How do we like make it more dynamic? And they were problems that I solved as I was building. Who are you waving at?
Waving at Kate the Great Mate and
are they
Blerz
leaving?
Craft.
Bye.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so we were putting we put the like ribs together and got it all kind of laid out while we were watching the Paranormal Activity chronologically explained, and we all got sidetracked from actually making the board and went and we started doing that.
Sort of ghost hunting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can use that as a timestamp. You can listen back to the episodes and realize how long ago we started this.
Yeah.
And how much
a
we
lot
got
of it
sidetracked.
was Steve having most of the layout blueprinted, and then just like New England War Council just gluing random shit down.
Gluing literally random stuff. Me trying to clear the garbage by gluing it down to things.
Yes.
Yeah, which was a lot of fun.
It worked.
It was a pretty big challenge to try and glue down as much garbage as I could in the most random places I possibly could.
Yeah. It was a feat.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's really not that crazy of a board. It's just big. And that was kind of the whole idea, was be impressive with scale rather than like Griblies and like making it.
You do say that, but I like one thing we haven't really gotten the opportunity to touch on. Seeing Anna's shit in person in Croatia, all of her like terrain pieces are just like a Coke can with just like 100 pieces on it, and it looks like the most impressive thing. This still has a lot of stuff glued to it.
Yeah.
It is all garbage. It's all just random broken electronics, but
Yeah.
But by scale wise, you know
Yes.
what I mean? Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it is giant, and there is not a lot on the table.
No,
but what
no.
is there has a lot of crap on it.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know how to talk about things that I do.
yeah. It's also just a lot. It's huge.
Yes.
We're literally hiding behind it while people are still playing in the studio.
Yeah.
But you did manage to keep the whole thing like accessible for
That was like a big. That was
30
a big drive.
people that were like, bouncing on and off.
Yes.
The table. Like there was no problem. I didn't see anyone having to like pull the board apart to like get to a portion. The hand test functions in almost every position.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did many hand tests throughout the building of this project, and
Steve is also working like night shifts sometimes in the studio, and I would come in like the next day and I would see a Marine like on the other side of the board, and I could always tell he was testing scale because there's like just more toys on the board than there
Right.
wasn't.
And Steve has 2 hands too, so it's
I do.
it makes the job a little bit easier.
It's or twice as hard.
yeah,
true.
Depending.
Twice as much work. Twice the output.
Yeah, I think having 2 hands is twice as hard as having no
Oh
hands.
my god, he's here.
Who's this?
Who is this?
Who are you?
Hi, my name is Mini Wargaming Dave. My handle is @miscast.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the podcast, Mini Wargaming Dale.
Yeah, no problem. Sorry for being loud.
No, it's okay. I forgot
Should I
that
put this more in my mouth? Or
Cole was
should
sitting.
I just
at
go back
that
to
TV
sitting
floor.
here silently watching you guys?
Don't you dare silence him.
I'm just muting
he
him
finally
really
has
quick.
a platform. Do not silence him.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cole was sitting in that seat before, and he was sitting back like this and talking quietly, so that's why he was so loud. And I
Also,
forgot to turn him down.
Terry will move those knobs the entire time
Yeah.
during the pod. So
Yeah, it's
don't
cool.
take it
It's a little
personal.
scary.
It's
Yeah.
supposed
Do you,
to.
do you have reverb? Put a lot of reverb on me.
Oh, dude, come on.
It's supposed
A lot
to
of reverb.
distract you. I forget how to do it.
Cut
on
my
this
highs,
thing.
just
Little warmer
lows.
than that one.
There you go.
Have to.
Oh yeah.
Was it delay or reverb? Sounds like delay. Delay.
Put it on
Cathedral.
Cathedral.
All right, there you
yeah.
go. You're sort of in a cathedral.
Oh, that,
Oh.
Wow. This sounds crazy.
you should leave him
Oh,
on
no, it's
that.
large hall. That's okay.
Oh, sorry.
Hey guys,
Yeah.
I'm over here.
Check. Yeah.
All right, let's record for a few minutes like this. Okay.
Tyler's in the other room.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, what were we talking about?
How did you? So, Steven, the creation of the board is actually a very wonderful thing, and I think that it looks like you did a lot of work with it. How did you go about painting such a massive creation?
I wore a mask and spray painted it in the studio.
Thank goodness you wore a mask, because here at Hivescum, we take PPE rather seriously. Now, how did you do the amazing stencils on the side?
I didn't do them. Tyler did. Dark Tyler, everyone. He did a very good job. He sat down for 15 minutes and carved out what kind of looked like an Imperial Eagle's wings, and then he made a stencil of the word wrathful for the wrathful atonement.
Yes.
And then he spray painted it onto the paneling in a piece of random cardboard.
I heard thousands have died in that incident.
I have also heard that.
And I heard the message will repeat.
Yeah.
This message will repeat.
Thank you, Tyler, from the other room.
No problem.
Gage,
Yes.
will anybody be able to see this pictures anywhere?
Most
know.
of the pictures from the game are already online. I think we'll do another Patreon post once I steal everyone else's photos of the event. But everything that we recorded while playing is already posted. So by the time they're hearing this, they've already liked it, shared it, subscribed.
I am going to post a bunch of photos that I took on my blog at some point and talk about the building process.
Photos of photos.
Yeah, I was going to say it, dude. Got his ass.
Roasted.
Yeah.
I am now the leader of the podcast.
Dillon's here.
I'm driving the ship now, boys.
Yeah, you're taking photos of your photos.
Yeah.
Got his ass,
Yeah.
Dillon. I knew you were going to say it. I heard him, and I said,
Photos
oh,
of
he's going to get his
photos.
ass good for that one.
I'm
Now,
fired, right?
speaking of
Yeah.
atmosphere, Dillon, you were here at the event to help us with lighting.
Yeah.
Can you explain your process on doing the lighting?
Well, it's like anything. You turn them on first, right?
Yeah.
And then they stay on until you turn them off. No.
You got some sort of switches on them, or like so like a button you press?
You got games on your
Well,
iPad?
yeah, I got Light Ninja. You got to turn the lights on and off.
Oh,
as
you got to
fast as
swipe
can.
them really
Yeah.
quick so they
Swipe
turn on
the
and on.
lights, yeah.
Choo.
Or you get fired and your DP tells you you're never going to work in this industry again.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I did. I
What's a
fired-
DP?
Director of photography is like
Oh, nice.
movie lingo.
This is business terms. Yeah.
Business terms.
Big boy LA business terms.
Big,
Yeah.
the big city. No, I think the general idea is that like there's so much work that goes into like the event and like all this terrain building, and that like a kind of a secondary thought is lighting the space. Like we've all been in like a game store with shitty fluorescence and or played like like a TTRPG where like it's over like a single like kitchen lamp.
which is the best form of playing.
Which
Yes.
is a great place to play. But you can also like, especially at this scale, it makes sense to kind of like do a little bit more and enhance what's like the terrain.
theater of it.
It is really theater, and like the theater of going into a space that's properly lit, or like focus all the lighting on like this huge board, especially where it's drawing everyone's attention to it. Like they're not distracted by people walking in and out around them, or like chit chat. Like I don't know if we took any video footage. I think maybe Jared did.
People were
Yeah.
videoing.
But
Jared
like-
definitely did. I can't
but
wait
like
to see what he comes up with.
I would strongly suggest. I know you guys are very like into like GMing and running the games. There were very few people stuck on their cell phones in that darkened room, like not paying attention to the game being played, or actively, even if they weren't actively playing. There was like people were focused on it, and like creating real shadows on things we spend a lot of time making faux shadows on.
Right.
Like it doesn't highlight the miniature as perfectly, but it makes it living. It makes it breathing. Like you're actually looking at something under a sun or under, warning lights or under kind of like changing conditions, and especially for the big board for the race scene, like it really. I think it definitely helped everyone kind of feel like they were in the situation.
It was very like Orlando Studios walking in when the setting was finally set and like the board is ready, and then like the video is playing on repeat in the background, and everyone's like kind of hushed walking in, like, oh, like I'm in line for the ride. Like, okay, I have my model. Where do I
that
start?
was like, oh, I still got reverb. Never mind.
Yeah, leave it on. Leave it on.
Okay.
No, I can't. He won't talk.
Sorry, somebody threw this out with joke effects.
Tyler, come in the room.
Okay.
Yeah, you can.
Hi,
come in now.
everyone.
Hey, everybody.
Entered the room.
Enter stage left.
Yeah.
Thank goodness you're here, Tyler.
What? I don't know. I don't endorse, so I'm not associated.
Oh, never mind.
The bit has gone away.
My name is Tyler Russo. My handle is at Warhammer.official.
All right, I'll bleep. I'll bleep the first part out.
Seg miniatures.
Redacted.
Yeah. What was I saying? Oh yeah. When we first turned the lights on, there was a collective like, whoa.
Yeah.
Everyone did. It was very hype. And then after, it was like a waiting line of like a Universal ride.
Right.
That's
it's
a
like
good
the big
comparison.
reveal, and then honestly,
Yeah.
like going to the third game,
It was very hype.
keeping like the sheet on the Space Hulk, and then like the other reveal. And I know you were bummed that the light over it didn't come on immediately, but
Yeah, I mean,
it still looked great.
yeah, I mean, the lights get rented. Like I rent them sometimes, so
yeah.
they see some shit, and
Yeah.
it's nice
It
when
was a
it's
3-second hiccup.
It's nice when it doesn't happen when someone who is paying me a lot of money to make
Yeah,
things work
yeah,
correctly
yeah.
is like, why
Yeah,
isn't this
us.
working? And I have to like, oh yeah, big Patreon money is funding this endeavor for everyone.
Yeah.
But it's not, it's like I understand it's not as mission critical to like the event, but
absolutely.
I was bummed because I was driving the cart on that one.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it went astray, but.
So, well, to that point, when we were initially talking about setting everything up in here, I was like having a panic attack. I'm like, this is so overkill for what we're doing.
You just didn't see the vision.
Yeah,
I really
you got
did
no
not.
vision.
I
Your third eye very
no,
close.
No.
Yeah.
It's just building this board. I know what it.
Right.
I see everything in my
You
head.
can explain it to someone 100 times, but it's like if like lighting and shit like that, the ambiance is that's your lane, and I am so far
Yeah.
from it that I was like, I think like literally a red light would be cool, man. I don't know. Like,
Can we
and then
get
you're
a
like,
red
no,
light
curtain.
bulb at times?
Yeah, literally, yeah,
like how less cool would it have been if there was no black curtain, if there was
Right.
minimal lighting,
Right.
like the black curtain alone, I think blacking out the room,
yes,
making
the
it
gaffer
all
tape
Yeah.
over the fluorescence that we have.
Yeah.
alone was
Yeah, I mean, it is like.
it's a production.
Yeah, I mean, it adds production value to the event. Like, I know that it's like, obviously, like, we've been talking about, like, you can't do that every single day.
Yeah.
Like, when you sit down to play, like, a casual game of, like,
I mean, we could
whatever, you could.
yeah.
You could.
We have a studio.
If you had, like, a dedicated, like, you're like, this is what we want it to be. And, like, even, like, the light, the rig we had set up there was, like, so minimally invasive. And I knew that Steve didn't want, like, he wanted the value of the production without the gear and, like, the volume of, like,
I didn't want the headache for other people to
Exactly,
have to deal
yeah.
with.
Yeah.
That was my worry.
over stands or over like tripping over stands, tripping over that stuff. So like just throw out in the ceiling a couple little lights that we could like focus on the fly without any tools, like,
Yeah.
and that's really all it took, and just a little bit of like control narrative to like
Yeah.
knowing like what Steve wanted. I sent Steve some videos in advance and said, this is what we can do. This is like extreme, and this is kind of like what I was thinking. And he said, I'd rather it more pulled back to not distract from the overall
Right.
game, which is cinema lighting, and in general, you don't light a movie to have people think about like, oh, I wonder what like color light's going to come on next.
Yeah.
Not every movie can be Into the Void,
Right.
but you want to see. I guess it could.
Yeah.
If you really wanted
No, but to that point, and like you said, you wouldn't do it every game. It would lose its touch. Like,
Yeah.
you would be so over it after the third time you saw it.
Yeah, but picture a board over a light that you're like, hold on, let me turn on the light real quick before we play with all black background.
Well, I mean, we could.
Oh, yeah,
we have
yeah,
the framing for it right now.
To be fair, yeah, like this fixture that's over our head right now, even just having one dedicated soft light source over your table, that's like a balanced light source that like is a clean, like, you know, either daylight or tungsten, whichever way you want to go. Like this is already going to make your board feel way better because you have a single source coming down that's bright and lights up your source. Like even like when we at Nemo, even like when we walked over that single light over to your board and shot everyone playing on it, they were like immediately like, oh my god,
I can see things.
I can see things. Look at how nice this looks when you put like a nice soft light over it.
And that's the beauty of the hall, though.
That is the beauty of the hall.
Yeah, the hall
Everybody's in darkness.
All those little
shrouded.
tiny incandescent chandelier bulbs just kind of like twinkling in everyone's
That
greasy
and
eyes.
also probably the aesthetic of choice. Everything's covered in a fucking dark wash or like
Right, yeah,
so having that direct source of lighting aids to sell that a little bit further.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It also, I mean, you guys are running like an event, right? And I feel like having all the lighting makes it feel like a production. It's like literally concert like lighting.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah.
And I feel like it makes it. I mean, I think it would have been insane either way, but it makes it feel like you are like going to something that you can't recreate at home,
Right.
At all, outside of the terrain, which you like maybe theoretically could, but wouldn't.
But I won't.
You
yeah.
also have something you
I
like.
won't,
Like
yeah.
most people, like literally have no idea how to do or
Yeah,
do
I
it as
mean-
effectively. Yeah.
That was like the whole thing. It's one thing to have a board, but it's another thing to step up the production and
Yes.
sell the narrative. Like, my lore is important. It's I don't care, but I hope the people that do care really get a little extra out of that
Get what they
because of
want.
it.
Yeah. It was also like Tyler, you came from LA. It's like
Yep.
Wow, really doxing him. right now.
He came from
no
1,
one
2,
knows
3
that. I
Smith Drive.
definitely haven't put my address in like every other video.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
someone tells me to blur it out, and I don't do it for like a month after that even. It's too much work. Yeah.
The thing that we kept nailing down was like we can't just have neoprene mats for this. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't matter how cool our packet looks or what the lore is. Like the level of buy-in is so much more when it's visual.
Yeah. As a like filthy tournament gamer too, who's mostly used to just playing with what looks like cardboard boxes and like
Yes.
MDF terrain and neoprene mats, it's like very, very, very nice. Like seeing just like something that's like so far.
It's
from
funny because
that.
a lot of people always say that tournament gamers wouldn't want to play on stuff like this.
No, they would. I mean, I just feel like I don't think anyone likes what we're doing.
Yeah.
I think it just like sort of happened, and everyone
Yeah.
was like, "I guess this is it.
Yeah.
I guess this is Warhammer."
It has
And
to
then
be
you just
balanced.
like forget. Well, like, yeah, I mean, it's not, people aren't even talking about that. I mean, some people are, but I feel like it also doesn't need to look bad. You could have like good tournament terrain and have it look like this,
Right,
right?
yeah. Right.
Like, there's like you'd have to be like certain size specifications, but you can like weather it and make it look sick and put
Yeah,
posters
yeah.
on. Just no one does.
Well,
So I think
even-
culturally it's been forgotten. I feel like you guys are like preserving something that's like pretty important. That's like the spirit of the hobby. But even like the parent company is kind of forgotten and has for like over a decade now.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We were
thanks,
like-
man.
Yeah, no problem.
We were like joking when you were playing Brandon the day before. We were like, "Oh, like you're like a YouTube gamer guy. Do you want sand for your terrain on the table?"
Yeah, and I was like, no, it's a lot of work to vacuum. And you're like, no, I
was like,
insist.
I don't
And everyone
care,
was like,
yeah.
damn, Tyler, why'd you do that?
Yeah, yeah. But
And
then
made
we
fun
put
of
the
me.
sand out. It was like this alone
Yeah,
made the terrain.
Yeah,
look. We were just
yeah.
using like the 40K
Yeah, I really
sci-fi.
liked your immersive terrain that you guys
Yeah,
had.
yeah. The Bulma.
Bulma.
statue in the middle of
Yeah.
the room.
The Bulma, the random hut on top of like a Coke can
Yeah, yeah.
terrain piece.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But it was like no, just that little extra step added to that experience of
Sand's
just the
sick.
sand. Yeah.
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 Although I don't recommend play sand. It's very fine and it definitely is still in that neoprene mat.
Yeah, I probably
That's
inhaled
fine.
a lot of it while
Yeah,
playing.
yeah.
Don't worry, silica inhalation is not bad for you.
No,
They've
I heard
proven
it's
that.
actually pretty good for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
raises
Play
your
sand.
your chakras or something.
Yeah, your chakra goes straight into your cancer valve, and then
It's freaking sweet. It's all little crystals in your lungs, so it's
Dude.
like good. It bounces around the
crystals,
energy,
and then
stuff.
you recharge the crystals in the moonlight.
That's what I'm freaking saying, dude.
I hate
That's
this.
what I'm freaking saying, dude. Thank you, Dillon, dude.
Anyway,
Freaking-
Tyler,
dude,
so-
third eye very open, baby. Third eye very open. Yeah. Anyways, Tyler,
Is it weird that I'm sitting like this? Do you guys?
No.
That's a real
There's no video
Phil
in this
move.
podcast.
No,
so
it
shit.
is like
No,
Phil.
I mean, Jared
Normally-
definitely just filmed you doing that, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Normally people
true.
normally people sit on the seat. It's weird that you're sitting on the legs of the chair.
Yeah.
and it's sitting upside down on another table, like 10 feet away.
I thought that
Yeah.
was a
That
strange.
that is odd.
I walked back in the other room, but I'm not far enough to have reverb.
I can-
Yeah.
I can see you, yeah.
Just dragging the mic around the room.
Yeah, you've surrounded
It's about
your
to
head.
pull
in
the
a
whole
sort of
system
shawl.
actually off the
Yeah,
table.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Tyler,
cool.
stop.
Tyler, cut it out.
Yeah.
What was your favorite part of the day, dude?
I liked when I played the mission in a way where everyone told me to, and then was always like, "Look at this try-hard filthy tournament gamer," and then made fun of me.
Yeah, a lot of people
that was
made
cool.
fun of you.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
I was like, "Oh, I'll do the thing that Steve explicitly told us to."
So for
And
the
then I was
record-
like, "Fuck you." Yeah.
The
was
first
cool.
game,
Yeah.
you told me you did not lose a single model.
Oh yeah, that's true. Not that one. That one, everyone should have been mad. But people were mad
so
later.
You killed all of your opponent Enzo's models.
Yeah.
And then Steve also infiltrated. I don't know if you talked about it in the first part of the pod, but
Nope.
everyone in Hive Scum was just walking around fucking with people's games by like our narratives that are in the packet. But like my little guys were trying to sell data. Eldritch Menagerie Bryce got to buy mine, and I was going to try and kill his model in the second game, but he unfortunately died too soon, so I couldn't even get to deploy. But Steve infiltrated with what, 200 points of guys?
Something like that. No, it wasn't that much because I felt bad when I looked at the 200 points. I was like, no,
Whatever
That's
you
what you
brought,
mean. It was not a
still
lot.
got killed by all of.
Oh,
his-
yeah.
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 So the competitive gamer part is a little.
Yeah.
a
Yeah,
little
I'm
true.
really good at one-page rules, and I did a lot of work and research ahead in the half hour I had to learn the rules on my phone before printing my list.
yeah, you did
Yeah.
great.
Thanks.
I mean, you had.
I was like, oh,
not-
engineer seems good. Let's
Yeah.
spam that. And then it was, yeah.
We talked about it briefly, but like, you have the brain for doing this, obviously.
Yeah,
So,
I feel like Magic guys, whenever they start playing Warhammer, are like way better than everybody else.
Yeah.
And same with like League of Legends. League of Legends players who like to read,
Yeah.
at least they're like way better.
you look
It's
at
like-
the list and you're like, oh, optimization. Like this seems really good.
It's all just numbers,
I'm
man.
gonna take that.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
it's
this
like hard not
destroys
to.
your armor.
I like, yeah. I try and turn it off too, but it's hard to do
Can't.
it completely. Yeah.
No, it's funny because like I am so. I mean, we were playing Twilight Imperium the other day, and we were just like setting up stuff for it, and Paul and Steve were joking with like my local board game group, and they were like, "Yeah, I don't think Gage has ever won a game, ever." And I was like, "Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I literally have never looked at it being like this is strictly better than this in a list ever." I'm
Well, I
just
mean-
like, "Oh, this guy has cool shoulder pads."
Yeah, it doesn't feel like to me that you're incapable of doing so. It's just
Right,
not
right,
what you
yeah.
care about
Yeah,
out of
yeah.
the experience.
I mean, we were
yeah.
talking about on the way here. I would love to be that mindset for Age of Sigmar, but
right.
it's like cultivating that. I don't know if we could make that push in this scene to be like competitive Age of Sigmar.
Well, there's also a
you don't
difference. Yeah, you don't have to be. Or you go ahead, sir.
No, you were going. It's fine.
Like I feel like you don't have to be competitive to like optimize stuff too. Those are like
Right,
separate
right.
to me.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of the time, like if you're just doing something thematic and cool, it becomes optimized, and that like sometimes just going all in on one thing is very effective too.
Like
so if you're
two
building a
Stompas.
thematic, yeah, like two Stompas,
Yeah,
like
that's
two
cool.
Stompas, yeah. Yeah, or like the Thunder Tusk guys for ogres or whatever. Like, I don't know that much about
Yeah,
Sigmar, but like often, like in the previous edition at least, like just like taking a lot of one thing was like effective.
Yeah.
I know.
How
like,
many would you take while we're looking at Steve's case of Thunder Tusk guys?
I did not play that when we played Age of Sigmar.
Yeah.
I did the thing where gluttons are really cool. I'm gonna play all gluttons with some lead belchers,
Yeah.
and it does really well.
And they just turned out to be the best.
sorry, they
unit
just
in
seem
the
to be
game.
the best.
They just, I don't know. It's weird that happened.
He didn't find the meta. He made the meta.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
He is
double
the
stompa.
meta.
I feel like 40k and AOS have at least gotten to the point too, where I feel like just because one thing is better, if the person like piloting it doesn't know what they're doing at all, they still lose. Which is not the same, I think, for like 3rd or 4th edition, where it's kind of just like raw data sheets and like playing the mission and whatever is important. I also don't want to sabotage your cool Brothers of Promethium narrative
No, you're
breakdown
not.
and just be
I
like
like this.
blah blah blah. We're every
No,
other
you're
podcast
on
about
the
competitive
pod.
40k
You
now.
can talk about whatever the hell you
Welcome
want.
to the Art of War
Yeah.
the Art of War by Todd
with your
Taylor
guest
Russo.
Hive Scum. Yeah.
Steve Zoo.
Yeah, Steve
Yeah.
Zoo, the art of board making. No, but I agree with you very much with the optimization of gaming, where you don't have to just take bad stuff. And
Yeah.
like you can still have a lot of fun.
Numbers are fun.
Yeah.
Some numbers are more fun than others.
Yeah.
And like doesn't mean I feel like
Some numbers are bad.
yeah, we talked about this
Yeah.
earlier too.
Yeah.
Where it's like
Number 9.
you could just be like
Number
a
6.
competitive like Super Smash Brothers Melee player, right?
Yeah.
And then like you're like the world's like 15th best fox or whatever, which is like cool.
Yeah.
That's like really hard to do. People spend their whole lives trying to do that and fail. But you could also just be like the world's best Donkey Kong,
Yeah.
you know, and like that's sick, and also like would fall under the category of like competitive fighting games, right? where you are like trying to do something as best as you can, but you're doing something that's like different than everybody else and like with style and like a different attitude towards it.
That's
like
beautiful.
That's me, like for orcs. Like the ITC stuff is fun because like I don't have to try and be the best in the world. I just have to like try and be better than the other orc players.
Yeah.
Right. And then even within that, like even if I'm not like the best one, if I'm doing something different than them, it's a small like circle of people.
Yeah.
Right. You just like meet them all eventually. Like like this like Mark Perry is a guy who's like really good at 40k. No, he just has like some psychotic list that nobody else has thought of, and like that's like so like inspiring and impressive. Where it's like literally nobody else out of like the tens of thousands of people who play this faction and like have tried to in tournaments have like done this exact thing yet.
Yeah.
And like he might not win, but he'll be like come in third, and everybody remembers that. Not like who won with
because
like,
it's like a
what was expected
not meta.
to win. Right. Yeah. So I think like doing that kind of stuff is like really, really cool, and like what I like about competitive gaming.
Yeah.
Not just like trying to be number one top dog. Yeah.
Now, I think that's really cool, pushing the boundaries of the games that exist and the like, just not going by what's in front of everyone.
Yeah,
Totally.
yeah. It's like trying to break games in like fun, playful ways is like. I mean, it's funny because it's like fundamentals like Magic in a lot of ways, right?
Yeah,
and like
totally.
yeah, like Pro Tour stuff is like super cool, and someone has like a crazy deck or does something weird. It's like hype, but
Like,
I
where'd
feel
this come from?
Yeah, there's a culture in like Warhammer historically where it's like been not that. So I feel like it's taken people a long time in some ways to be like okay with that. I also don't think that's like what everybody should be doing, and it'd be weird and sad if they did.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, you know, it's like it's cool being able to do both. Oop.
Sorry.
Is that me or you?
Yeah, you broke it, dude.
Okay, sorry.
Maybe you should stop sitting on the chair like that, dude.
So-
It's strange. No, it wasn't you.
Okay.
Now, when do you think that started for you? Was it always Warhammer, or were you doing it with like, you know, I don't know. You mentioned League of Legends. I don't know if you're a League of Legends person, but
Kind
were you
of.
doing
I was
it
bad
with?
at it though. I think Warhammer made me into a good League player, and I was a bad League player before.
Oh,
that.
interesting.
Yeah. It was really just like I wanted to get back into 40k, and I was like, well, like tournaments are like a really easy, accessible thing to do. I'll like start going to these, I guess. And then like if you just play the game enough and you like it, you get like reasonably good at it, right? And you meet some people you like a lot and like to hang out with who are also like reasonably good. And then being good and playing a lot with each other makes the other person good. When you go to events, you meet people who are better than like everyone in your little group. And then you're like, I want to be as good as that guy. And then you just keep going and raising the bar. That happens
true with
pretty
a lot of
naturally.
stuff.
Yeah. Like I'm just like flying to tournaments. It's like pretty natural. Because like when I started playing too, it was like way different than it is now. Like 2017, 16. It's like when I was like starting to like go to events and like take it like air quotes seriously, right? Where it was like my goal is like to like do a little bit better than like last time every time, and not necessarily like my ranking is better or whatever, but like I feel like I understand the game better and like I played
Right.
a little bit better
Yeah.
than last time, and yeah, you just kind of keep doing it, and they keep moving the goalposts too because the rules evolve constantly, and you
Yeah.
gotta adapt to stuff. Yeah. And then I feel like just like doing all that stuff and like really reading not only like your own codex but like all the other ones and like trying to understand the game as a whole.
That's what
it's
makes
like
you a better
really
player.
good. It makes you like a good game designer too, kind of. And sometimes I think it makes you really good at understanding other games.
Yeah.
Like I feel like like you know like one page rules for example. Like I don't know shit about this game, but I play a lot of Warhammer, so I can like
Yeah.
kind of tell like oh this seems good. Same like when we played like Bill's game like Mech 28.
Yeah.
Same thing.
You
I was
broke
just
it.
like, yeah. I was like, oh, these are good together, and then they were because like, and then like I think like League and what I was saying with like Magic players too, like they come from Magic and they haven't played Warhammer at all. But for like, I'm very used to looking for synergies and combos between cards.
With
and
a
now
lot of
I'll just do it
text.
with data sheet. I don't know this game at all. Like it might take me like a dozen games to understand Warhammer, and then like from there I will like exponentially get better than like everybody else who's been playing longer.
Like
That
I
makes
say,
a lot of sense.
It's all just like pattern finding.
You're exponentially better at talking into the microphone than any person that's ever been on this podcast.
Really?
Like literally is like I'm trying to adjust in interview, trying to turn you down because you're the only one ever talking to the mic.
Is that good? Am I too
That's
good at
fantastic,
it? You
dude.
sure? You trying to talk? Okay.
You did exactly what you're talking about
Yeah.
with Warhammer, but you did it with the podcast.
Wow, Terry.
But just sticking
I'm
the whole
right
mic
here,
into-
and I don't understand what the problem with my voice could possibly be.
You're the only person ever talking to their mic, and I'm so it makes me so happy.
This is my first time playing microphone.
It's like a tear to my eye, dude. You like
He's a
came
competitive
up-
microphone user now, and
Yeah,
he's already mastered the
Yeah,
game.
the microphone
Listen, we-
independent tournament circuit.
Yeah.
yeah.
When you put a microphone when I'm sitting comfortably in a chair like this, it's not as
We need boom mics, dude.
That's why, because I was like this, and like this feels weird. It's like, what if we change our list to be like lay back in the chair?
That's what I mean.
Hold the mic, see if anyone gets mad. No one did.
Creatively.
Phil
Seems
has
like it's
the
working
right
okay.
idea, honestly.
Phil's
Yeah,
also
this is
the
nice,
person that
yeah.
reads other codexes. So.
My back hurts
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
much.
I was going to say Phil would love to hear you reading other people's or other codexes.
Yeah,
that
I feel
aren't
like you
your
kind of have to if you play. It's like because sometimes it just does feel like I don't care what the fuck League of Votan are up to.
Yeah.
I don't care about that faction in any capacity.
Yeah.
But like you're gonna play them in a tournament, like you're gonna you
gotta
get a
kinda
significant
know.
disadvantage if you don't. And some people like that's what I used to do, just like ram your head against the wall over and over again. Be like I haven't played against League of Votan, but I'll lose against them 7 times, and then I'll kind of get what they do.
Yeah.
But it's way easier to just like read it or like watch somebody else doing a video about it or like watch battle reports and stuff and like take some notes.
Now, you think you take that same approach to painting too?
Kind of. Do I? Good question. I don't know. Yeah, I think painting is like my goal for the past like 6 years is not to be like necessarily a better painter, but just to like be a faster and more efficient one.
Yeah.
Because like I really really like painting as many models as I can in like a short period of time. It's just like what's cool for
Same.
me. And then like doing like kill team kind of stuff is like intimidating and a little scary because like it was just like 7 dudes I could spend like infinite time on.
Yeah.
We just watched you do this. With one model.
With
The
I won't say his full
warrior.
name. Yeah.
Don't say his full
I won't say his Christian name. Yeah.
I really like the nipple highlights on it, though.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I put a lot of hours in
Yeah,
those.
yeah.
Yeah, I think so. It's like because I always care about like the Renman Award too at tournaments, which is cool that they have. It's like the combination of your battle points in the tournament and your paint score combined is whoever gets like Renman or overall, or they changed the name in a lot of different events.
Cool.
But that's like a very common award. That's like usually what I actually go for. Like I want to, if it's like a 100-person tournament, I want to get like 4th and then best painted. That's my goal.
cool.
Not
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you know, yeah. So it's like the multiple layers of like rewards that they have, and not just incentivizing like winning. I think is like something that's pretty cool and unique to like wargaming tournaments that like you wouldn't do that in Magic, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like it's hard to be like the
We really
biggest
like your
flex
sleeves.
award goes to,
Yeah.
you know,
The guy who's
The
been
guy
the
who
most
only
money.
brought land.
Yeah.
Oh,
but
see,
like
that's the
Warhammer,
worst.
yeah. And I feel like a lot of tournaments do that. I wish it was pushed even harder. I think we do. There's like most of the best players I know are also like really, really good painters. Because they got into this because they just think models are sick and happen to be good because they play a lot of Warhammer now, right? But like they're not just like doing it because they want to win and don't care about anything else. You know, they just like naturally happen if you're really into like Warhammer as a whole, right? But yeah, I think it could be pushed even further, and it's cool that like a lot of people are striving to do it either way.
Yeah.
Do you see that a lot in your play group that I won't dox?
You can, but go ahead. Or what's your question?
You played with a lot of people. You said like in like Blizzard has a lot of just Warhammer players.
Oh yeah.
Do you see that with a lot of them just being like, oh, I want to paint cool models, and then they get naturally into that? Because we're kind of removed from that in our local scene.
Yeah.
It's not like we're seeing.
Yeah, we don't work with Blizzard employees.
Yeah, but we also don't see people being like, I like cool models, and then immediately become like on the path of like what you would be doing in a game.
Yeah, it depends on the person. I think like there's
You look really devious right now.
there's yeah. There's a lot of answers to that question. I'll try and give one that doesn't dox people as much as I was initially going to, which is why I smile. I think it's really interesting because like a lot of the people I know who are like insanely good at games and like I would expect to just like immediately be like kind of like grind set, let's win a tournament guys, or like I already have that and like Smash or Counter-Strike or like League or whatever it is for them, or Magic, and they're like, the painting's sick though. Like this is not a component of like what I normally do.
Right.
So even though they might be like, oh, these are like obviously like good things I could take, they'll choose to disregard that and be like, but the guy writing the bear is awesome, or like whatever it is, you know? Yeah. So sometimes like they feel fulfilled in that, and likewise, I know some people that like I just know a lot of like animators and artists who are hungry for like a competitive game. Like one of my best friends, she's like a like really really good tournament player and has been like a grind to like get good for the past few years. She has an art background, and everyone's like, oh, like you're gonna like, you know, like paint your guys, like what's your colors game? And she's like, I'm gonna like airbrush 3 colors. I'm gonna make their bases look sick so they look from far away, and I'm gonna play like 4 games a week. Like that's what's exciting to me about this, because like I do
cool.
art so much that like I want them to like look good, right? But I'm not gonna win a golden demon. Like I can draw and model and do all that stuff. Like what's exciting to me about this is like trying to get really good at a game.
Yeah.
So I feel like sometimes it's like correlated. Where like people who are really good at games like will get good at this too. Like I sort of the Magic example, but sometimes it's like the opposite too.
It's like a left brain, left brain, right brain kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where it's like depending on which one you utilize for like your everyday life, it's you seek to flex the other half.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Exactly.
When you're not, when you're not trying to earn money or keep a roof over your head kind of thing. Yeah.
Like
that makes a lot of sense.
That's like me too. Like I'm not a like engineer, software developer guy. I don't think about numbers most of the time. I'm a little art boy. I come from like animation and art background.
Right.
I'm making like weird black metal songs and making funny videos and little jokes and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So like when I got into Warhammer, I was like, well, like I do a lot of that, but like I think what was exciting about it, both to like me and my friend I was describing earlier, is like it feels really, really hard. It's like a hard goal because you get in, you like suck. And we live in an area too where like there's a lot of good competitive players, and they also happen to be like really nice, which I think kind of hard to find.
Yeah,
it's not like completely unique, but like it's like a pretty rare thing that I don't take for granted. Yeah.
We were talking about this earlier, and like 40K competitive.
Yeah.
Should be cool. Like you should be able to go in with an open mindset and be like, I'm going to make a bunch of friends today. I'm going to have a whole lot of fun. But I have never had that really as an experience, and I feel like just one bad egg in that, like going to a tournament where you're going to play 5 games.
Yeah.
And one really negative game with a negative person can ruin the entire.
Yeah, same. I mean, it's unfortunate. Like I still feel the same.
Yeah.
Too. It happens like more like local tournaments are like fine, but like LVO, I've had like weird games for sure.
Yeah.
Because of that, it was like, oh well, like these people are like so good. I feel like I could like never be as good as them. But like it's like, but could I?
Yeah.
And that's like what becomes the driving factor of like it's like the harder to do thing that like I'm less comfortable in, and all my motivation comes from the fact that it is that, right?
That's cool. Yeah. Pushing yourself.
Yeah.
That's
like I know I could be like good at like the draw and stuff. It's like it sets you up to like be good at painting. And like growing up, I was like good at painting, but like sucked at the game too. So when I got back into it, it's like now we're gonna focus on the other half.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah.
Smart.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hey boys, thank you for joining us.
Yes.
We're gonna boot your ass off.
Oh,
cool.
Get
Thanks for having me. Oh yeah.
Fuck yeah.
They love us. They love it when we come in an hour before close, but are still like really, or 2 hours before close.
We're gonna give them some time today. So it's all right.
Yeah. Really bummed out to see anyone there at all.
Actually, real quick before we end.
Yeah.
Tyler, can you explain why you broke my shower?
Yeah. I thought it would be a fun bit if I swung around like a chimpanzee and screamed at 2 a.m. and you had to go and buy a new shower head while I was sleeping.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was a funny bit. I appreciate it.
You liked it?
Yeah,
that was cool.
good.
And then like nod, explain it, or text it. You just find it broken in the morning. Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
You're welcome back anytime to do it again.
Yeah.
Good comic timing
is
important.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
You got anything to say, Dill, before you boot your ass off?
I think my house is flooded right now.
Oh no.
In a different way than it was flooded like 2 months ago.
No, dude.
Yeah, my wife's like, just check. Why am I talking about this on the podcast? Anyways.
Hey, good luck, man. That's
freaking awful.
Light your game space.
Yes.
In a pleasant manner.
Yes.
Otherwise, I won't come. And if you have two, whoa. I'm not going to edit that.
No, absolutely
if
not.
you have 2 different color temperature light bulbs in the space you're painting in, shame on you.
I got to take a picture when I get home, dude. I'll
Yeah,
send it to
please
you.
don't, Terry.
3 different lamps.
Yeah, 3 different lamps. Just change them all to daylight and enjoy biggest, softest lights you can get.
Yeah, I like the big squishy ones too, man. Straight up, dude.
Straight up lights.
dude.
Straight up Bolden.
Straight up, dude.
My intensity is all the way up.
Yeah, I see you. You're fully torqued, baby.
I'm strobing.
Dude, you're fucking strobing, bro. Ty Guy, anything else you want to say?
Yeah, check out miscast.co for more of my content.
Nice, dude. Yeah. You
Yeah.
can see it all there.
Yeah.
I'm not on YouTube.
Welcome to the Clown Farm.
We're here 3 minutes in. We have now figured out how to use the mixer.
Good job.
Terry's tapping out. I offered so he could actually get to enjoy eating chips.
Check.
Tyler's checked. Bill just cracked up Coke Zero. Are you a spiced guy?
I've never had one before.
Oh, dude, live react right now. Yeah.
Live reaction. I don't even know if we have. I shouldn't say I don't think we have these in Canada because I don't know.
I don't think you do, to be honest. They're probably illegal.
Yeah, I wouldn't allow it.
Yeah.
got a good mouthfeel. That's pretty good.
It's got a good mouthfeel, you know?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
The only thing I'll say is Coke Zero Spiced is not, I mean, you know, it's missing the sugar, so it doesn't have the kick that regular spice does.
I always found the term mouthfeel to be disagreeable because I'm really not interested in how anybody's food feels anywhere besides their mouth.
It itself has a bad mouthfeel.
Just the implication
Yeah.
of other feels is too much.
Yeah.
So now we're in our third trimester here of our pod. Chris, you want to introduce yourself?
No, thank you.
Okay, this is Cryptic Acrylic on Instagram and the In Rust We Trust Discord, a favorite of the Hive Scum podcast.
Well, what a coincidence. The Hive Scum podcast is my favorite podcast.
To his right, we are joined by...
My name is Steve at Self of Heaven.
okay, yep. Steve's
Sorry,
here.
well, if no one says their actual name, then
That's true.
kinda ruins
Yeah.
it.
I mean, we all know I'm Gage at No Clear Goat.
Yeah.
To my left, who are you?
Bryce at Eldritch Menagerie.
Beautiful. And then leading the conversation.
I'm Phil. Actually, I'm Bill. But there's been plenty of confusion this weekend. When
Yes,
you guys yell, Phil!
Yeah, of course.
And my neck snaps.
Yeah. Berserker Works, obviously, everybody knows you. Yeah, I get that a lot with people that have A names. They're just like, eh, and I'm just like, Gage? And it's never Gage.
Yeah.
So, Chris and Bryce, more specifically, how did we do? How was it? Be honest.
I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It was excellent.
Sick.
The best thing I've ever done.
Awesome. Cool. End it there. We're good. Here's your $20. No, Chris, you said that you don't play war games, which
Yes, my experience in real life with war games is minimal.
yeah,
I've played one full game of Frostgrave and one round of Gaslands.
Yep.
And that's it. So I had never played anything else, including one-page rules, until yesterday.
Bryce, you're nodding. Is that true for you?
Yeah, pretty similarly.
Yeah.
I think I've played 3 games of Frostgrave, 1 game of Mordheim where I got yelled at for pre-measuring.
Was it by Steve?
No.
What a great system.
Some random girl at my LGS, because they were starting a league, and I was like, oh, sure. I've heard about it from this podcast in Nemo, and then I went there, and it was not like this podcast or Nemo. Everyone was like, what are you doing? What's wrong with you?
Just bullying you for playing a 20-year-old game?
Yeah. And having kit bash models.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you should have just immediately left. So now, is the reason, kind of both of you, is the reason you haven't played because you just haven't gone, did you experience the kit bashing and narrative side first before? You never had an interest in getting into like a 40K or something like that?
Never.
I've been into board games.
I was going to say, you're a big board game head.
And I don't know how I managed to bypass the entire Games Workshop thing. My whole board gaming experience. Because seems like it's like the perfect thing for me because I like to hoard plastic and stuff.
Right.
But it just never did.
That's so interesting because you're a prolific poster. That's like how you and I started talking.
Yeah.
Besides Phil threatening you and then
yes.
And then we became friends.
Well, it was a beautiful friendship.
Yeah.
Out of a threat of violence.
Yes.
Trauma bonds.
Trauma bonds, yes. Yeah. Phil threatened to kick his teeth in, specifically.
It was a big misunderstanding.
Yes. And then in turn, they ended up kissing each other's teeth in.
I might have responded a little aggressively.
It's the internet, you know?
Yeah.
You know? No, but that's crazy because literally the last half hour we're talking about how Tyler
Hello.
got into the game and I'm sorry, at South of Heaven got into the game.
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
The last meeting was everyone said false name, and then I felt bad. Tyler Russo of $1 Billion Clown Farm. Then we're 10 minutes into the episode. I'll introduce myself.
Yeah. But literally the last half hour segment is just talking about your climb into knowing what's the best and enjoying that side of it and like climbing these games, whereas like you two are like, I've played a round of Frostgrave. Do you have any interest in going down that path? Is that like, are you scared of the big bad GW, I should say?
Not so. I own a bunch of books to games that I haven't played, and I like the idea of like creating, and that ends up being what I do instead of actually playing it.
Right.
So like, Last War comes out and I want to build weird War 1 stuff.
Right.
But then I just get lost into that and I don't bother finding people to play with.
Yeah.
Or learning how to play.
Right.
Or like even something like the Brothers of Promethium thing. Like I don't care about Warhammer. I care about this event, and it was an excuse to build and paint cool stuff that doesn't exist in real life.
Right.
So I would be very happy to play games. It just doesn't come up.
Right.
So dug into the crafting part.
Right. And Bryce, do you have a good scene where you're at? I feel like we talked about this at Adepticon where I think you were explaining to me how you got bullied by that girl at the store.
Yes.
But
yeah. It is primarily actual competitive 40K stuff.
Yeah. Does that off-put you?
I mean,
sitting across from the best orc player in the world.
You should say it off-puts you. It feel disingenuous of it.
I mean, it just isn't what I like. I think Dillon, White Tiger Tablecraft, once said, I like competitive 40K because it keeps the competitive players out of my scene. No offense.
That's okay.
That's not true.
It's not unwarranted.
Yeah, it's also not true.
Also not true at all.
Yeah. No, I get that. I literally up until our conversation 20 minutes ago, I was I never had a perspective on it that Tyler kind of brought to the table, but like we were saying, like these events can kind of only exist if you have like people that are willing to put the work in on the narrative side, where it's kind of the same amount of level of interest that you would put into like a competitive mindset.
Yeah.
Bill, I don't have a good segue here, so what do you have to say about this?
I think it was like interesting. We were talking earlier, right, about this is going to be a horrible term, but you're like the perfect virgins. You've come in scene from a totally
to sacrifice later tonight.
Yeah, like you just come in from a totally different angle from so many of us.
Right.
Like so many of us were years or decades of Games Workshop, and now we're finally finding kind of like something different and creative and cool. And you guys are just like coming into this straight from the start. So it's kind of be interesting to see in like 15 years if you guys just become like diehard Games Workshop people.
Yeah. We're gonna have the best Space Marine player here.
Just the total swap.
Or if Games Workshop will exist at all, but
yeah, that too.
Oh no, they'll have like branched out into like soft drinks and stuff. Like.
Yeah.
But
exclusively streetwear company.
Just like you said, especially because like you two are also just like so active in the Discord with just like. The reason you're here is because I saw your insane models of Brothers of Promethium, and like us talking at Adepticon, I was like, this guy gets it. Like he's a diehard, and you're like, no, I've been doing this for like a year, not even. I'm like, okay. And then same shit with you. Like you were early on in the Secret Santa, Chris.
So I showed up because I found Smash Bash on Instagram.
Yep.
And I think I had to join the Discord in order to enter, I think.
I don't think that ever happened, but yeah.
But that's how I ended up.
Yeah, I'll have to pay Matt for that that crossover then.
So yeah, I mean, it was just about like building and painting at that point as well.
Right.
But I mean, just being in the hobby, like it's unavoidable to like get involved with GW in some capacity.
I kind of wanted to bring it up when we were talking in the last segment, Tyler, but like what you were saying about that mindset of like people that are like good at League of Legends and then they become good at 40K or whatever. I feel like this side of the hobby, like this weird niche side, not even necessarily the narrative game side, but like the weird, like fully kit bashing everything and customization has such an adjacency to like metal culture or like whatever. So like when the Discord started popping off, it was so easy for like Chris and I to communicate because it was just like, oh yeah, let's talk about suffocation or like literally anything like that. Or the adjacencies are there, within this niche side that aren't the same as like a competitive.
Yeah, totally. I mean, like some of those people are into the same stuff as me, but there's way more of them.
Right.
here.
Like we were talking
Like
about yesterday. No one's wearing a Zath shirt at the show, like other than you.
Yeah,
Or
yeah. Like
not,
or
I'm
at the
even
tournament.
saying the show.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Like I mean, Adepticon.
Right.
Was like really funny, just being like, oh, I'm like vaguely familiar with Hive Scum, and then going in the back, and everybody else is wearing a band T-shirt I also own.
Yeah.
And it's also the first time I've seen anybody else ever wear that band
Yes,
T-shirt.
yeah.
And we all have a lot of tattoos, and we're wearing skinny black jeans or black shorts is the other choice of uniform. Yeah. I'm like, oh, this is the room for me, I guess. This is like the classroom I belong in.
Yeah. We should do a merch swap next year.
Yeah. Culturally, I feel like this is like sort of where it started out too, right? Like Realm of Chaos and all that. It is just like a bunch of like sort of metal punk adjacent people.
Right.
And if not like Games Workshop employees, like fans of the game they created are definitely like from that world.
Yeah, all those old codexes, they're wearing ripped sleeve shirts or like.
Have you ever seen the pictures of like Kev Adams sculpting miniatures
Yes,
in the 80s?
yeah,
And he has
yeah.
punk across his
Yes.
like homemade
Dude,
tattoos.
it's funny
Like
because
Brian Ansel, too,
I never
yeah.
looked at him until I think it was either someone's Boyle video. I think it might have been Trent's or Eric's, whoever's. And he's sculpting, and I could literally see like the faded tattoos on his knuckles. I'm like, I know exactly what this fucking dude was like back in the day. Like, this guy for sure was a punk.
Yeah.
That's sick. I as much as I want to say that we cultivated, I think it would have naturally happened anyway. But
Well, like you got to remember too, like they were like Games Workshop in those days was doing collabs with Bolt Thrower and stuff like that.
Right.
And like there's I've got some old ones, old issues when they had the Kerrang, like the original Kerrang ads for like the British Metal magazine.
Yeah.
And I can't remember. It's like the ad is awesome. It's just like, about liking spiked horns, like helmets and stuff, and then like this magazine's for you. Like direct advertising metal stuff in a hobby magazine.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so cool.
That's crazy. That couldn't exist today because A, magazines don't exist anymore, and B, what are they advertising that people don't already know or are blasted with Instagram ads or? What do you think, Bryce, about cultivating this kind of thing back home? Because the only reason I'm putting you on the spot is because I saw your story. You were like, I hope to emulate this one day. Do you think we lit a fire under your ass, or are you gonna steal everything we do and do it yourself better?
I mean, like a slow burning fire.
Yeah.
Because I'm in an apartment, so I can't do boards right now. I don't have the space for that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. I'm mostly the most tabletop time that I get right now is through RPGs.
Yep.
So I'm slowly trying to integrate more and more kit bashes into like what my players are going up against and that kind of stuff to try and introduce the idea to them. And maybe,
real quick aside, are you playing 5th edition?
Yes.
You okay?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Are you using any third-party supplements for stuff like that? Because that was my foray back into kit bashing. I found Trent's videos and I was like, oh, I could just make a weird monster and just steal stats from a different thing.
Yeah. That I do that a lot.
Yeah.
I find I make a monster and then I find the closest stat block anywhere that fits thematically and maybe change like a damage type or two.
Right. That's sick. That's very sick. What do you think your event would be? What are you hyped on right now as far as narratives? And it doesn't have to be Brothers of Promethium, I promise.
I mean, I personally I like fantasy stuff a lot, and that's like a little bit like not two-sided serving double duty, because if I run any fantasy narrative and have a ton of models for it, well then I can just use those in any game that I run from then on.
Yeah. Tyler and I were talking earlier about like we have such a backlog of just random miniatures. It's like when that moment comes, you're like, oh, I've needed this wizard. He sat on my shelf for this year so I could make it for this stupid event or like whatever else is coming. The opposite of that, though, Chris, you're a 3D guy.
Well, yeah, but I was going to say, I've been hoarding, like, physical plastic, like, since I got involved with the Discord in preparation for something like this.
Yeah.
And then I ended up doing dinosaurs, and I had no dinosaurs in plastic.
And yeah, that's always the case, too. Yeah.
So I ended up 3D printing everything anyway.
When we went to Richmond for the Hondius event, it was like Feudal Guard, and I was like, cool, I have no Imperial Guard anything. I have no any of these bits, but I have 50,000 Space Marine sprues, or just shit is so not useful to me. That's just how it goes. Yeah. What about you, Bill? You gonna go have a narrative event back in the woods?
A narrative event?
Yeah.
Yeah. I got this cool idea called Sisters of Petroleum.
Yeah. You and all 13 people that live in your town are gonna...
2.
Yeah. Sick. Can't wait to go.
I'd love to do a narrative event. I think it would be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, also real quick, you did just come back from Into the Dungeon Fest.
Yeah.
How was that?
Which was really cool.
Yeah. I know you and I talked a little bit about it, but
Rory did a hell of a job.
Yeah.
He, like we were talking, he took it felt like he took a little section of the Legion in Chicopee and put it in Calgary.
Yeah.
Like same atmosphere, same kind of people.
Right.
Same ideas, right? And he just nailed it. Yeah. It was really cool, and especially for Calgary's not a small place, but it's not somewhere you'd think of, and it's just seeing that many people, over 20 people coming to play Mordheim in an area that, I thought we would be hard pressed to find 20 people that even knew about Mordheim.
Cared. Yeah. Were those people introed into the hobby from a similar hobby virgin standpoint, or was it
I'm not too sure. I think a lot of them were just kind of like the rest of us. They played Games Workshop stuff, or they've always played Mordheim, or they've always liked it. It was a good kind of mix, I think, of intros to it. Most people, I think, were familiar with Games Workshop stuff, but it's just a little kind of emulation of your guys' group, right? Friends that play these games and things like that. I'm sure Rory would and Andrew and those guys would know more about kind of their scene, because so many of those people I've just met. I met some of them through Under the Dice and things like that, but yeah, it was just really cool, and the fact that people were traveling for it, Ryan came from the Yukon and stuff like that. It was really cool to see that coming together so relatively close to where I live.
Yeah.
Within a day's drive, which is pretty good for that part of the world.
But. When you said that, people willing to travel is always the craziest thing. It is always such a humbling experience when it's someone's yeah, I came to Under the Dice Fest from Australia, and you're why? Why would you do that? That's insanity.
But you've done the same thing. You just went to Croatia.
Yes, and that's the thing.
Yeah,
it's this thing of if you build it, they will come type situation. As I'm also realizing that the 4 of you are also the ones that have traveled the farthest for this. So thank you again.
I think you guys have hit on something really cool though, because I've been invited to events in Germany and places like that before, which are small narrative events, probably smaller than what you guys just put on now. But that's just kind of such unless you're really, really dedicated to it, that's kind of unrealistic for somebody like me to travel that far for a weekend event with 10 people.
Right.
Whereas what you guys are doing is things like Under the Dice Fest and stuff, where it's a not necessarily a huge event, but it's a big thing that people can get excited about coming to. It's not exclusive, it's not that kind of stuff. Yeah.
This actually kind of killed us that it had to be invite only, but it was literally because it's in the studio. And it was. We have 3 air conditioners running right now. It is still hot. I'm still sweating. Bryce can definitely smell me right now. So it was it kind of had to be invite only for this. But yeah, I get what you're saying. It's you kind of have to provide more of an experience to make it worth it. But no one is going to be a diehard lifer fan for Brothers of Promethium, or you have to get that vibe of everything else going. Tyler, do you think we switched over the gears in your brain? Are you going to go full narrative mode now? You're never going to look at a codex
because
again?
the gears wanted to switch a little bit already.
Yeah.
We just had a big conversation about how cool, doing air quotes for people at home who aren't in the room.
They can hear him.
Yeah. Competitive stuff isn't how much I like it. But I'm skipping Nova to come to this instead. Yeah. I feel for me, I'm just sort of looking for something different. I like both sides a lot.
Right.
I've won a lot more than the other recently.
Yeah.
And this is more exciting to me right now because of the novelty of it too.
Yeah.
And I'm sure eventually I'll just crave the other one and go back and forth.
Yeah.
I really just like every component of this thing.
I know we kind of touched on it in the last thing, but
yeah.
the world of them crossing over, it shouldn't be. It's like it's not a barrier that has to be broken.
No, well, I mean, I feel like one thing for narrative events that's like always true is just like, I mean, you guys do a good job of like just curating the kind of people that are here. Like, there's a lot of competitive players, so I think would have like an awesome time and fit in like super well.
Right.
And they're not going to come here as competitive players.
Yeah.
They're just like people who are like showing up with their weird little kip ashes. Like, we love this stuff too.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's a lot of people who like wouldn't fit in and would feel weird to have here.
Yeah, because spoiler, nobody won yesterday.
Yeah. Which is great. I feel like that's how a narrative event has to be too.
Yes.
My least favorite kind of event is a narrative event that's just like a tournament with like bonus rules.
Right.
Because it very quickly just becomes a tournament, which like the metric and like the explicit intent of everybody going, like any board game, right, that has like a win condition is like, you can't be like, oh, there's a win condition, you can win, but like don't do that or try or think about it. Yeah, it's like you have to remove like winning as something that has like any meaning or weight at all.
Right.
For it to be like a truly narrative event.
It'd be cool if you just avoided the win condition and had more fun.
Yeah, but there is one.
Yeah.
Just to be clear, like some people will win and some will lose, but I feel like it needs to be like D&D or something. You guys did a great job of that. And then like likewise, like I'm sure there's some people here that could like go to a tournament and have a really good time. But it's not going to be everybody here. Just because there's like
Witty just dropped off one Baja Blast in front of 5 very thirsty people.
This is another live reaction. I've never had Baja Blast
really?
before.
Oh, dude, take a sip before I ask Tyler's next question. What does it taste like? Says the
America.
What? Witty is
I've also never had Baja Blast before. Can I have
God.
some?
Yeah. Haha. I would. Yeah, I've never. Tyler's definitely had Baja Blast. What about you, Witty? Is it amazing?
It's interesting. It's like,
so here's the thing.
It tastes like Sprite.
Yeah, it's
Baja Blast from a Taco Bell can be an extraordinarily different experience on each Taco Bell you go to.
Because
it's up to the minimum wage worker that has cleaned the machine that is spraying it into your...
this is more fun than talking about war games to me. Talking about like the difference between like canned sodas and ones you can get from like...
It's also like the difference between like a fountain drink and a can.
Like well-regulated good syrup level is like way better than a can.
I think this
but the can's dependable. Is this good?
No, this one feels like...
No, this is not
good.
good.
Like they're trying to work on their margins a little bit harder. It's less carbonated in this one, but
this syrup probably ran out. It's like Sunday. They don't get a shipment till tomorrow.
It's not bad.
What's your soda opinion?
Well, I appreciate Mountain Dew's enthusiasm for variety.
They have good branding,
but I feel like the only ones that matter are original and Code Red.
Yeah.
And around Halloween they do Voodoo.
Oh, I'm very familiar.
So I look forward to that each year.
Paul from Chained does Mountain Dew review videos on his Instagram. It's literally just him playing a sick show, and then the next one's like, I'm trying the new Mountain Dew video or taste test.
I feel like the Venn diagram of like soda enthusiasts and wargamers is probably even bigger than the metal community.
Oh, absolutely.
So I feel like this is very relevant to your core demographics interests as well.
What's the Canadian soda?
Like a Canadian,
like what's the Canadian soda of choice for you? I should say, or like what are your options?
I'm a ginger ale guy.
Okay.
There's like a big thing going on with like craft sodas.
Yeah,
I don't know if you guys...
I was going to say that conversation's going down to this guy. What did you bring at Adepticon?
I brought L8, which is a citrus ginger ale bottled in Bowling Green, Kentucky.
So we have Hosmer Mountain Soda here, which is like a pretty big deal in New England. I've been drinking that like my whole life, and it's like the best compared to spoiler Coke Zero or anything. That blew me away.
It's really good.
I was like, damn, Bryce, really I need to give you money for this shit. Like, you just opened my eyes to a different world. Yeah. You didn't bring any this time, though, so.
No. Well, I flew this time, so.
That's fine. Whatever, dude.
I wasn't paying.
Yeah, that's okay. Whatever. I totally forgot where we were going with narrative events and crossovers, but
That's okay, me too. Or rather, I never knew.
Yeah.
I wanted to add on to what you were saying.
Yeah.
If you said something to the effect of like if people would just forget about the like competitive part or the win condition or whatever, they might have more fun or whatever. That's like 100% what I think. Like I'm not competitive, and so I just do not care about like showing up and seeing if like my orcs are better than your Marines or whatever. So, when this thing was over yesterday, and I was talking to my wife, who I love very much, who made it possible for me to be here this weekend.
Yes.
I love her. She said, "How'd you do?" And I said, "I didn't."
Nobody
did.
Yeah,
I was like,
Well,
it's not important.
Right,
Like, that's
right.
Not, that wasn't the point.
Technically, Cole could have quote unquote won, but he altered the rules and chose to come back. So
To be clear, too, I feel like it's not up to people to just like stop caring about winning. I feel like it is up to the organizer in the game system to not have it be a part of the game.
Right.
And I actually hate it when it is like advertised as a narrative tournament. Let's all just come have fun. By the way, there's a really sick trophy if you win all your games. And it's like, okay, like I mean, a lot of people won't care and like have a good time either way, right?
So this
and
discussion
then, like
happens literally daily in the Inrush Discord.
Yeah.
And people are always like, well, this is the problem with GW because they don't have this narrative solution. And it's like, I don't know if it really falls on GW for that.
Yeah.
Like what do you think?
I think it does, but
well, I'm saying like in a grand scale, do you think they should make a framework that would allow narrative gaming, or do you think they should say, okay, here's how you make a campaign?
This is like an hour-long response, but I feel like
we have another 49 minutes, so go for it.
All right, cool. So I feel like they are trying to use a game system and adapt it to something cool and narrative through like Crusade. Mm-hmm. But it's still built on the core mechanics of like your guy is awesome, so now he has like sustained one. Or like crits on fives. Or just like something that's like a game mechanic, but doesn't necessarily reflect anything.
Right.
It's like he's better at fighting, so he gets this. But like,
and it might be something that you probably forget in the game anyway, because you didn't earn it in like a meaningful way.
Yeah. So like big game design hours. An alternative to making people not care about winning is having something be more interesting than winning, which could be like doing the best you can of something that's bad. Right. Mm-hmm. Like that's like very common, like meme list and like 40K tournament culture is huge.
Right.
Like it's so sick when someone like wins a game at all of something that should like never ever win.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's really, really awesome and like more exciting to a lot of not just me, but like a lot of people than like trying to like actually win the event.
Right.
Right. With something that everybody expects to do well. And then similarly, like through Crusade, you could have something that like mechanically is maybe like not the best. It has to do something.
Mm-hmm.
It can't just be like a funny name and some lore, but it's like literally no game because you just forget about that immediately.
Yes.
It has to do something sick, but like might not be as good as something that's like strictly better from like a gameplay perspective.
Right.
So it has to have like consequence and have like in-game merit to it, but doesn't necessarily have to be like good from a I have a better chance of winning standpoint.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's like a very like broad statement, right? But like I think like the main things is like people don't actually want balance of a game. Mm-hmm. Like even tournament players, I don't think actually want balance at their core. And I think Warhammer like currently is like sort of built around the mentality of like make all the win rates really even.
Yes.
Which I think they're doing not the best job at, in that like rock paper scissors is like a pretty even win rate game.
Yeah.
Right. And also you're not like taking into account for like what lists are doing well, like player skill. Like it's just like you can't just do a faction. You have to do like what did that person bring within the faction?
Right.
How experienced are they? Who are they playing against? And like there's like not enough people playing to like really get meaningful data on top of that. So I feel like a more interesting approach is like you just try to make things that feel cool and meet people's expectations of like this Imperial Knight,
mm-hmm.
right? It's like, what do you think he should be able to do? And what does he do on the tabletop?
Yeah.
People aren't usually mad when they lose. It's like, we have this like sick thing that feels like it should be able to do this, and it doesn't, and it doesn't meet my expectation.
Right.
Like if you have an Imperial Knight and he does like awesome Imperial Knight stuff and dies and you lose, you're probably like, that was cool. Like, it doesn't really matter, right?
We always talk about that with Mordheim. It's like, people don't give a shit if they're winning. They want, like...
Right, yeah.
Or like Marcello, someone I just met in Croatia, is... Every game he asked me, so how awesomely did you die?
Yeah.
He asked that every game. And it was like, that's very narrative at its core.
Yeah.
Like, no one's really having that experience in a competitive thing. You're not coming over like, oh, how sick was it that you lost? It's like, no, it's like...
sometimes, but it's more rare. Yeah,
no, I think that's a very strong point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and I feel like if you take that approach and just be like, okay, for Crusade, like what do people want to take? What makes this like cool and meaningful and impactful? But you could also do just like the competitive side of the game too, and I think it would kind of correct itself in a lot of ways.
Right.
Because you see people doing that with just like I mean, this was more common. Like part of why 10th is sort of weird is because like they took away like a lot of the players' autonomy to do this. I think like 9th had like more units and like more ability to like combine stuff together. Sorry, everybody here who doesn't play 40k regularly, either in the room or at home. But
I have a 401k.
It's more than me. Yeah. Trying to win with like something like really dumb, and then like having like style and like doing something cool and like being like memorable is like awesome. Like a lot of players like rewards. Like for one example, my friend Atesh did something called the Yellow Card Challenge, which we've talked about as like a bit for years. The Yellow Card Challenge is where you go to the Las Vegas Open, the world's largest Warhammer tournament, and you're supposed to submit the list of like what you're bringing and what your army is like weeks prior to the event. You don't do that. Instead, you take a yellow card, which is like a penalty for like if you get 2 yellow cards, you're disqualified from the event. Typically, it's for like you get a rule wrong or like you like are caught like cheating in a way that can't really be proven.
Yeah,
or like something like that, right? But also like late list registration is one of those things. And you go to the secondhand store at the Las Vegas Open and just like build an army out of whatever you can find there from the night before, paint it in the hotel room,
so sick.
and then show up and then like just try and see like how good you can make this like pile of things that like shouldn't be able to like win any games at all be. And like he did it with like he brought a Warhound Titan, which is like not good in 40k at all. And then like
first of all, there's a Warhound Titan just at his shop.
No, he brought one with him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so and then he's like, this is half of my army, and then the other half I'm finding the night before in the hotel room, and we're all painting it together. Yeah, so we did that. He did like, he was the only registered Adeptus Titanicus player at the event.
Yeah.
No one else brought, because like you can bring a Warhound and ally with like certain stuff, but like to be like a Titan player, there's like very specific units you have to take to be like, you are like a Titan player.
Right.
He was the only one, and he won like half his games or something crazy too, which like should not have happened.
It should not have happened.
But yeah, he's a capital G gamer and managed to do
That's so sick.
And then he was like, where's my best of faction trophy?
Yeah.
Like, the guy, like, running the event too. And then like everybody was talking about that.
Yeah.
Like, did you see the guy with like the and like that's what competitive gaming can be.
Yes, yeah.
It can't just be like fun. Like you're playing in a little sandbox. You're not trying to like win LVO and then
literally
like,
before meeting you. All the conversations that happen in the Discord, I'm always just like, no, narrative is better. I'm just strictly it is better.
Yeah.
And like
Or you're not entirely wrong in that either.
But it's I've never had the perspective of like that kind of a gamer or like something like that. So it's like it's very, I don't want to say like jarring, but it's like awakening to be like, no, you can still do this thing with a quote unquote competitive mindset. Everyone who says there has to be like a strict line, like if you're playing narratively, you can't be competitive, and if you're playing competitively, you can't have a narrative decision fun making.
Yeah, I think in competitive games you can have narrative decision fun making. I would agree that in narrative you can't be competitive.
Yeah,
if you are, it is now a competitive game with narrative elements rather than a narrative experience. Yeah,
because like I mean, we were talking about it the other day, and I know Bryce, you played Cauldron, or you're a big fan of Cauldron?
Cauldron's so sick.
Yeah. So you used Realm of Chaos to make. When you played Cauldron, you used Realm of Chaos to generate that, and like that's kind of the same mindset that you would take, like the games that we play, like Forbidden Psalm and stuff like that. You still have that mindset of making your kit bashing your warband for a narrative game off of these random rolls you're getting to make your warband, just like buying garbage in a night before a tournament.
Yeah. It like looked sick too.
Yeah,
like we did a good job airbrushing at the hotel room. It's like if you guys had to like paint an army tonight, I'm sure you could. It would look insane if you all tried together. Right?
Damn. Now I want to do that.
It's so fun. Come to LVO, dude. I'll do it with you. I don't want to be.
The only problem with that is I would just literally have the book open the whole time, being like, is it my turn? What are the steps?
I mean, you won't be the only one too. LVO is like funny too, and that like it is like the biggest event. So a lot of people go and like just kind of barely know how to play.
Right.
Like even to like local RTTs on a Saturday that are like stacked.
Yeah,
and then like LVO can kind of be a breeze depending on like, where they like quickly put you against people at your level. So you'll be against the other open book guy.
Yeah,
you'll play like 2 turns, and then it'll be like time's up, and it'll be like, oh okay, cool. As long as it's fine with both of you.
Yeah. Damn, that rocks.
Yeah.
You gonna start your competitive career now, Chris?
No. No, I was just gonna say, just in that story, like the narrative of your friend who created his army that way was way more interesting than whatever the results of that contest were.
Right. I feel like, well, like competitive gaming, I feel like is narrative gaming, and the narrative becomes about the individual player, and that can be like really cool.
Right.
Too.
Right. Yeah. You're still achieving that serotonin blast.
Right.
It's from a different way of getting there.
Yeah. There's like very strong personalities in that world that people love to like root for to win or have a downfall of too.
Yeah.
And like it's like sports, right? It's just like and like my favorite part of like MMA is like the backstories of like the fighters, and like that's so much cooler than just like two guys fighting without knowing who they are in any capacity.
Yeah.
I think that's true of like a lot of sports, and like people like their team for a reason.
Right. Yeah.
Like I feel like all competitive things in some capacity have that background.
I want to be the competitive player that refers to their faction as like a we. You know what people do with sports?
Yeah.
Yeah, we took home the gold. The orc tattoo guy. Yeah, we took home the gold this time. Yeah, we tried real hard.
So like wouldn't like in a tournament setting or something, wouldn't you be proving yourself as a better player if you were able to do more stuff like that? Like if somebody spends months, honing their army of
crafting the
choice.
best list or something.
Yeah, I mean it's like I would say like yes with like a big asterisk.
A person who could show up and do well with whatever they were given is probably a better
generally
than a
for
person who has
Do you think like this may even exist, I don't know, do you think like a draft style thing of like, okay, Tyler, today you're showing up and you are playing Ultramarines. Let's see what you
that'd
got.
be super fun. Yeah, there's like another instance is like Richard Siegler, one of the best players in the world. Like somebody dared him to take Crimson Fist, like non-Primaris Marines, which is like one of the worst possible things you could have taken in the game at that time, to the like World Championships. That's like invite only and stuff. He's like, I don't give a fuck. Like it'd be funny. Let's do it. And he still like won a couple games.
Right.
So and I think it'd be fun to like do something where at Warhammer it's kind of hard. I think you need to give him like a week or two notice.
Yeah.
Because like to just like show up and be like flipping through a codex of no knowledge.
Right.
And also if you have like just played enough, you might literally know the rules for every faction in the game too, and it's like a disadvantage over other people.
Right.
That'd be cool though. I think like some kind of draft system would be
like
fun.
a draft style. That'd be crazy.
Yeah.
So like for competitive, with something like that, like how much of competitive gaming is just figuring out a list and like what the min-max most powerful thing you can do is versus just like player skill?
I would say at this point it is no longer the biggest part at all. I would actually say it's like in 9th edition, like late 9th edition, I would say like the best player like wins almost all the time, and I would still say that's like largely true now, but in 10th it's like changed a bit. But yeah, I think like in 3rd and 4th edition 40k, it was just kind of like best list wins most of the time.
Yeah.
Also because like the metric of whether or not you won is like how much you killed. Versus now it's like point scoring and stuff. You can play an army that kills like 0 models and like hypothetically wins a game. That's like very hard to do. Most people don't do it, but like you can have like an army that is mostly about like just like winning the game on the metrics of like what the mission tells you to do, and like doesn't really involve like what your opponent is as much or like what you're able to kill off their army.
Right.
They are. I think they are. We can change the subject if you guys want to, but like I think they're trying to change the skill ceiling a bit, which I think is maybe good for the game culturally, because like it does feel bad if you're like new, and like you just struggle for a long time, and like obviously people are like better than you and you're losing constantly. But like it feels bad as someone who's like really into that part of the game. I think like 10th edition to 9th to me is like Super Smash Brothers, like Melee versus Ultimate or something, where it's like, like there's a lot of things in 9th that were never intended, but like people really took advantage of and like kind of used to like break the game in a way that was fun for them. But designers don't want you doing that. They want like items on and not just Final Destination or whatever. So
how would you feel about doing, I mean, this would never be like an official thing for any company, but like a White Elephant style draft.
That'd be so fun.
Like everybody brings an army.
Yeah.
And then you just got to pick from what was made by other people.
Yeah, with friends, we've always talked about doing that. Or like we did, my friend and I last year at Nova, we both took a Gargantuan Squigoth and a Stompa in our list, and like just tried to see like who did, not like actually tried that hard, but like I was like, oh, it'd be fun if we like take the same army and do that.
Right.
And then like we've talked about like everybody takes like the same like stupid meme list to an event.
Yeah.
And just like
for the novelty of it.
Right.
And like a white elephant thing, I think feels kind of in that same category. It'd be fun to this would be like really funny to make my friend play, either because it's like perfect for them or like the worst possible thing they could run.
Yeah, they hate elves.
Like,
Use your Eldar.
Yeah, yeah. It'd be like interesting to do with strangers, but I think it'd be like very fun to do with like just friends in your game group.
Right, right.
Yeah.
We used to do that with D&D. It was like, okay, we're all going to do a one shot. Everybody make a character, and then the GM would go and pass your sheet to the left.
Right,
and you're like, oh fuck, now I'm playing this idiot bard. I don't want to play this. I made this sick druid that Bryce is now playing.
Yeah. I think if you do it like White Elf or like Secret Santa, I think is the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Where you're just like, it'd be funny if you like built and painted it for another person.
Right,
too.
right.
Like, here you go. You're like fucking stupid knight.
You actually hate the color blue.
That'd be fun. I feel like like that stuff is like more interesting to me right now than like just trying to win has been for a while.
Right.
But like, I mean, winning's fine. I like that too. But like, I don't want to just like win with something that's stupid. If it's like a faction I don't like or relate to at all, then like, what's the point?
Why am I doing this?
Right. Yeah.
We are getting a little close to time, but I still want to ask you what each of you are working on next. So, Chris, what's next on the horizon for you? Golden Demon? You bringing home that trophy for the server? Listen, if you win, dude, I'll lose my fucking mind. I said the same thing to Scottomancer. I was like, I will pick you up and run around the stage. I will do anything you ask. I will streak. I'll lose my fucking mind if you...
I mean, those were all your ideas.
Yeah. If one of my homies wins that, dude, I'm losing it.
Yeah, I have to start extra early this time.
Yeah.
Like, in focus, because I always overcommit to too many contests.
Yes.
So I need to choose and start working immediately.
Yeah.
So yes, that should be happening soon. Like, work to begin on that. I'm working on some commissions.
Yep. Can you talk about any of them? Are they all NDAs?
I mean, no. I mean, the stuff that I'm doing right now, like, I do some stuff for just like people, like painting board games and stuff.
Okay.
I'm painting some stuff for Flying Frog.
Okay.
But it's not, like Aaron Lovejoy is their dude, and he's much better and busier than I am.
Yeah.
So whatever he's not able to handle.
That's still sick.
I'll take it, and I'm happy to do it.
Yeah. What did you just recently finish? You posted it like a week ago. Or, sorry, they posted it, and you were like, I still can't talk about this, but they posted the pictures.
Yeah, Gen Con Flying Frog debuted a few secret new releases that were coming out at the show.
Yep.
So I couldn't talk about them before the show.
Okay.
But just like new enemy packs for Shadows of Brimstone.
Yep.
And it was very cool to get previews of stuff that hadn't come out yet.
Right.
Mine being the stuff that's on display in the case at the show.
Right.
And then everybody thinking that Aaron did it and not me.
Yeah.
He gets the credit for it.
Yeah. That's sick, though. So, nothing else going on?
I kind of want to keep working on my Brothers of Promethium guys.
Yeah, dude.
I'm kind
You're
of
sick dinosaur guys?
Like expand the weird, corrupt dinosaur line.
Yeah.
And just see what happens.
Listen, they were ass beaters. I want to see more of them, too.
They did beat ass.
Tyler, what's next for you? What's on the horizon?
I wonder if my Gloomspike gets, probably.
Yeah?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't really know where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
Brothers of Promethium was so hype, but I don't like have an event lined up.
Yeah.
I feel like everything I do is just motivated by like what's the next thing I'm going to.
Right.
Yeah.
So we just have to throw another event to get you hyped.
Yeah. I'm gonna start playing.
We'll do it closer to you next time.
Guessing the theme, and then we'd be really mad if it's none of the ones that in preparation. It's funny you mentioned like Golden Demon too, because I feel like that's like kind of the same as like competitive wargaming to me, where it's like it's like contest, right?
Right.
So, I think you can definitely approach it with like the same kind of angle.
Yeah. It, like just to touch on that again, it's like that's a world I never, like I said, even thought about until we've been talking this weekend.
Yeah.
Golden Demon is also a world I've never thought about. You
Same
know what
kind
I mean?
of.
Yeah. Like I throw 3 base colors on. I do an oil wash that's way too heavy, and I go, cool, good to go.
Yeah.
But like, that's a completely different mindset that like people could compare to a competitive thing or
Golden Demon's weird just in its own way, just because of
specifically painting competitions. Yeah, not advertisements for GW. Yeah,
right. But I mean, with something like Golden Demon, like I don't expect to win, but it's a good place to like do your best and just have it seen by as many people as possible. Yeah. Like open style competitions where you actually get feedback. I like that. And that's another one where you're not really like winning. You're just being like ranked or not even ranked, like judged on your skill level.
Right.
It's fun to just be a part of a thing with other people who care about the same niche as you, right? Like that's what this is. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What about you, Bill? What are you going to be a part of?
What am I going to be a part of?
Yeah. What are you going to be that's larger than yourself?
Probably not Golden Demon.
Yeah.
I don't know. I might do something.
Did you have a bad experience with it? Because you entered last year, right?
I didn't enter. Yeah, last year I entered.
Yes. Yeah.
This year I didn't. I don't know if it was like a bad experience. I think it was just like the overall experience that everybody had that year.
Yes.
Where it's
the fucking pin fiasco.
The pins, it's like that was the thing that like left a bad taste in my mouth a little bit. Where it's like, hey, we didn't bring any pins for anybody for Adepticon, so we just gave
the head judge is worried about losing his passport, and now he doesn't give a shit about anyone's judging.
And then it was like the next event in the UK was like, hey, we're just going to give away all the extra pins that we had.
Oh my god!
And now everybody has like Games Workshop or like Golden Demon.
I didn't know that. That sucks so bad.
I mean, that's my personal theory.
Yeah.
Because they, and that's so it just kind of felt like a lot of people entered stuff that year that just kind of went unseen.
Right.
And like Golden Demon's weird. Like
it's an ad. It's an advertisement.
Yeah, it's an advertisement, and like there's controversy every year.
Yep.
Like this year with the ARs and stuff like that, and it's just like I don't know, like I'd enter it again for the same reason you guys have just said. Like it's the best way to get your stuff in people's faces.
Yes.
Like people walk like.
Well, it's also like we're all hanging at Adepticon.
Yeah.
You want to go see my shit in the case real quick? Yeah.
And then we all just like walk around at 2 a.m. or
Oh,
something.
look at this skink. Oh my god. Yeah.
And you get excited about it, and like very rarely it's the stuff that wins or something.
Right.
Yeah, because you're just looking at cool models.
Yeah.
And I think that's the best part about Golden Demon. So yeah, maybe I'll throw something in there, but I think if I were to go after competitive painting again, it would be probably more something like Resin Beast or some of the other competitions.
Right.
That kind of thing, like something that's feels just a little bit more
professional
in touch but like just in touch with the community and stuff like that,
right
because you're right, Golden Demon's an advertising campaign for Games Workshop. None of my stuff will ever get into that,
unless you're picking the model that came out a week ago and looks good on the front page
for that specific
for warhammercommunity.com.
Exactly. It's like
I've just always thought that Golden Demon is a celebration of Games Workshop, whereas something like Resin Beast is a celebration of the artists.
Yes.
And I agree with that too. Like, and just like with more open competitions coming out, like I'm really stoked for the competitions at Nova with Eric, like trying to build like that European style painting competition in the States. Like that would be something I consider entering.
Right.
But no, like no ambitions to try to be a professional painter anymore. No, now I'm trying to be a professional game designer. No, like I want to do something for Mech 28 for next year.
Are you going to push more of a release, like a hardcover type style, or like
I don't know. Trent was giving me shit for not having any art in it and stuff like that, so it's like maybe I should do something
Trent,
like
make
that.
some fucking art for it.
But I don't know, like I think I just kind of want to keep that just like a cool, fun, easy thing for people to get into,
I see the mindset of Steve every other week. He's just like, it's going to be hardcover, it's going to be this, it's going to be deluxe edition, and then the next week it's like, I think I'm just going to spiral bound it and release it tomorrow. And I'm like, okay, either are sick. I support you.
Like I think like the idea right now for like Mac is to just kind of work on that arena idea and just do that. And
dude, speaking of that, Behind Tyler's that game I was talking to you about last time you were here, Frag.
Oh, yeah. No, we should check.
Oh, dude, we should steal all the rules for that.
Yeah. Totally. Do something like that. Just like a one-page thing. Kind of like maybe polish that game a little bit more. Because, it seems there's more people are looking at it and telling me all of the like spelling mistakes and things I got wrong, which is great.
It's free editing.
I just like was digging through the bit bin for parts for like another idea I've got working on that I'll probably try to do, but like try to get mech done first. So
sick.
That's kind of been the thing for me lately, is just like screwing around with the idea of making fun little
releasing games. That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's still a good creative mindset to just stay in. Yeah. And it never goes away.
Yeah. And it's like everything I'm doing is just about trying to like make weird models or encourage other people to do kit bashing and like do things that are kind of like these kind of events and stuff like that. Like, just something that's fun and creative.
Right.
Yeah.
Bryce, before I go whoop your ass in Acropolis, what's on the horizon for you? What are you doing?
Look, this are not a competitive game.
Yeah, dude, before I crush you in this game that's not even out yet.
Well, I mean, the Necropolis Warband, it is unpainted.
Yep.
Don't tell Steve.
Yep.
I'm working on I'm trying to make like an RPG go bag of a bunch of like generic NPC types, so like city guard, bandits, undead, and
what do you mean by go
casters.
bag?
Just literally like a travel box. So if I'm playing wherever I'm playing an RPG,
like a bug out bag for you. To,
bug
like,
out, yeah,
I'm gonna
bug
go
out
make
bag.
a one shot, and I have everything I need.
Yeah, or like if I play mostly like homebrew, no pre-written stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So if my players are like, yeah, we're going to interpret the go catch the criminals as breaking and entering into someone's house to find evidence.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now I have city guards instead of having to run theater of the mind for that specific encounter.
Yeah, like a generic list of NPCs that you can use at any moment.
Yeah.
How far are you on this quest?
I've got 6 city guards painted. I've got 6 undead on the table, and then I'm doing some more bandits. I'm trying to figure out like what else I need to round out the whole list.
My home game went for like 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
I could tell you it's definitely a lot of guards.
Yep.
It's definitely a lot of generic undead. But then there'll always be that random, like, oh, I forgot about this Cthulhu-esque monster I hinted at 10 sessions ago or something. Those you'll probably never be prepared for unless you just carry it around with you.
Yeah.
So that'll be your kit-bashing fuel. Anything else? Are you doing anything other than models for this bag?
Not really. I mean, it's so easy to find like stat blocks and names and stuff on the fly.
Yep. Are you a digital DM? Do you have like
Yeah.
You don't have just a notepad with everything written down?
No. I have everything on a Google Drive.
Okay. That for me was the preparedness issue always of just like I'm very tactile. I would just be carrying 18 books around with me, and it's like I'm going to my player's house with a duffel bag and a backpack, and I'm like, this sucks for my body and for like, okay, everybody move 10 feet back while I have all these books ready.
Yeah.
My DM screen is 7 feet long. Yeah. No, that's the better way to do it. You should release how you did it once you're done, so I can copy you.
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah.
Anyone got anything to say before we go watch me crush this kid?
You're gonna have so much more fun than him.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for putting on another wicked event for Salt to come to.
Of course. Every time, you all are invited. All right, bye.
Thanks for checking out this episode of Hive Scum. If you aren't already part of the community, check us out at the In Rust We Trust Discord, which you can find down in the description below. If you have questions you'd like to ask us, you can find our Instagrams down below as well. Or feel free to ask away on the Discord. We also have plenty of extra content and other perks available to our patrons on Patreon. So if you're interested in helping us keep doing what we're doing, then you can find that description below as well. Until next time, folks, keep it grimdark and keep it grimy. Peace.